my. All right, then. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. We were just talking about pizzicato violin music here on Coffee with Lavender. Yes, on Sunday at noon Eastern. And whoa, okay. This is something I don't like about this system. I had to wait until it came up to mute it on my other screen watching. Oh well, I'll live
Isn't
with
that
it.
how it usually is?
Usually on a normal system, I can go live with the golden apple screen, and then I can mute that. And then when I come on and say hi, how are ya? It's not coming back into my headphones. Oh well, sometimes you can't have everything. You know what can I tell you? And with me, of course, and I'm so happy that it is, and I'm so happy that she is the one, the only, the brilliant, the beautiful Kate Farr Bionic Dance. Hi, dear.
Hello.
Yay! Oh, look at that. Um, we have Purple over on the side, and he's saying he can come in if we want. And that doesn't sound like a bad idea, really.
Oh, I don't know about that purple guy. I've been hearing rumors about him. I think he might possibly rhyme with orange.
He just might, yeah. And it's really hard to do that, you know. It's so I don't know. Maybe he's got some sort of a magic ability, or maybe he's just demonic.
He's morphing. Is he a Power Ranger? You morph from purple to orange and back again. You're a superhero. I figured out your secret identity, Orange.
Yay! And I did send Mom Nato a link. I don't know if she's awake to see it or. Well, actually, I sent two links. This is the crazy thing. When I set things up today, I did what I thought was setting up a new stream. And Kate let me know that, hey, this looks like the old stream. And I said, no, I don't want that because I don't know if you guys out there remember what would happen when I tried to reuse links. So we finally got that figured out. And it appears that we've got hopefully good stuff going. And hopefully, yeah, anything rhymes if you mispronounce it bad enough. You got a point there, dear. Yeah, check your DMs. We'll see how things go. Oh, my word. Everything has. What, Greg? Come on. I'm still hovering around 200, so I've got another 30 pounds to go. Oh my, oh my, oh my. But yeah, everything has gone pear-shaped. Oh, that's interesting. Live viewers, 5 of them. I never noticed that came up on, well, I haven't looked at StreamYard that closely. I didn't know that you got the number of viewers on there too.
Like a command console thing, because I sure don't see them here.
Okay, then. But yeah, everything's just been going. My backup drive went bad, and I'm still recovering stuff from it. It's been over a week, and I think I've got maybe another 2 weeks to go, maybe, until I get everything off, because the drive speed, which is usually around 30 megabytes per second, is now less than 1. So yeah, it's going to be a little while before I get all that off. Then I had my regular broadcast system go. The drive it lives on went bad, and if he's here, there he is. Hello, dear. The one, the only, the brilliant, the beautiful Amiga Nuts fished me out of the fire on that one. courtesy of the dear boy, there is a 6 terabyte disk drive sitting on my desk waiting to be installed. And it was just a matter of finding a good bit of consecutive time.
So this backup drive of yours, is
Yes,
it
dear.
external?
Yes.
Okay. Because I mean, I've got an external backup drive for Quinn Redshift, and I would prefer it if it didn't go bad.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so knowing whether or not yours was internal or external definitely helps me know the possible dangers.
Yeah. The problem I have is I'm not swimming in cash. I don't have the number of backup drives I would like to have. I would like to have, at minimum, a backup and a backup of the backup. So when,
belt.
yeah, pretty much. So when a drive goes bad, the way this one did, I still have the other drive to rely on. Hi, Purple Deer. How are you?
Not sure yet. I woke up way too early for no good reason.
Oh, I know that feeling. Except I woke up I woke up early for a rotten reason, but at least I can identify it, namely rambunctious kitties.
Oh.
I wondered if Xander woke you up.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just him, though. He and Columbia started fighting again.
Oh, no, this is not good. So you've got the shit going pear-shaped as well. Okay.
Well, nah, it's not that bad.
Oh, my. Because, yeah, that went. And I wanted to take a shower before I came on the air today. However, yesterday I wanted to take a shower. I went to the bathtub, twisted that twisty thing over on the left side, and nothing happened. So
imagine the twisty thing got twisted. Something happened.
Yeah, something. Yeah, yeah. I have. I was thinking about this earlier. It's difficult to describe how this is. If you say, I have no hot water, someone might think that, okay, the water that comes out of the tap when you twist that thing is not hot. No, when you twist that thing, nothing happens. It's day 2 right now. I put in a maintenance request, but number 1, it was on a Saturday. And number 2, it may be problematic depending on this cerveza virus that we've got going, because somebody else in this building I had seen yesterday and said, hey, do you have water in your hot side? And she said, no, I don't. I called them and they said that they're not going to fix it. And okay, well, this person is a little deficient in the IQ department, you have to admit. But there's a possibility that she didn't describe things correctly and made it sound like it was something that wasn't essential. Mm-hmm. So maybe they thought that, it was a little thing, but no hot water. Come on, guys.
Well, is it just your bathtub or is your kitchen faucet out too?
The entire building is out.
Okay, so it is everything with the hot water.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have said that you've tried the super or whatever you have.
I put in a request and I'm going to give it, to the end of Monday, see if they'll give me a phone call or something. Come to think of it, why don't I look at this and see if there are any missed calls?
So in what? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
Yeah, and then okay, no missed calls yet. Let's see what happens.
So, how has this? Is there any significant deal breakery way that this has affected you, or is it just an inconvenience?
It's an inconvenience, but it's a rather significant inconvenience.
Well,
I mean,
sure. I'm just
I'm not.
curious whether there's anything that you ordinarily would do that you absolutely must do that you now can't do, or is it just, well, I guess I'm taking cold showers for a while?
Well, if everybody in the building is attempting to control a virus and nobody has hot water to wash their dishes, that's not a good thing.
True. But, I mean,
True.
yeah, okay, sure, fair enough.
And then wash, laundering clothing. We can't do that either because the water goes into the laundry room downstairs and everything. Now,
Yeah.
maybe, if I'm lucky, I might be able to go to the gym and shower there. I don't know if they have any restrictions on showers because of COVID or not. I will have to go there and ask. If they have no major restrictions, okay, maybe every couple of days I can go down there and have a shower. But not everybody has a gym membership, one of those deals.
Yeah. Well, and like I use the fabric face mask, so I have to wash those out every time I go out.
Yes, absolutely. You could do that. I mean, you could boil some water and do that in a bowl if you absolutely had
well,
to.
I've had to do dishes that way too at times with my tea kettle.
The hot water should have a backup. Yes, absolutely. Let's see, how would we do that? If we lived over a hot spring, that wouldn't be too difficult. But oh well. No, we
Works
just
for Iceland.
Yes. Oh my! Is that where they get their hot water? I wonder. Or
Yeah, actually,
it is okay.
Iceland gets a lot of their building heat from geothermal.
Oh, great. Okay, so they are lucky with that. In a way. I mean, never mind that you've got an active volcano splitting the island in half, but
Yeah, I could definitely live without active volcanoes nearby. I mean, that's actually, like, it wasn't the main consideration, but that was actually something that occurred to me when I was living in Seattle right before I moved away, was, if the San Andreas goes or if Mount Rainier go, one of them will set off the other. And
yeah,
pretty freaking fucked in Seattle if that happens. And given that it's 2020 now, that's gonna happen. So,
absolute, and it's something over which you might lose some sleep.
just I'm really glad to be living where I am now. Just from and I hate to use this term, from an acts of God perspective, because if the San Andreas goes, sure, we'll feel it, but it actually won't devastate San Diego.
Right. The San Andreas is a good bit east of you, isn't it?
Well, even if it wasn't, there's like, and I don't remember the details exactly, but there's something like the tectonic plates that on which rests San Diego is separate from the tectonic plates where the San Andreas Fault is. And so if that fault decides to shift, it's not going to hit our plates, if you see what I'm saying.
Okay. I didn't realize there was an extra plate in there.
Well, I mean, that's what I was told. I haven't really looked into it, but the agreement seems to be that the San Andreas going will not destroy San Diego.
Okay, I'm looking at a map right here, and what I'm seeing is the Rose Canyon Fault. If it's part of the San Andreas Fault system, I don't know, but it seems to be a good bit to the west of you, between you and Coronado, actually.
Well, Coronado's not that far. I mean, it's far enough that it's a $10 Lyft or Uber ride, but it's still not that far.
Moo.
My understanding had been that people in California weren't worried because they believed when the big one hit, they'd be okay and the rest of the country would slide off into the Atlantic.
Oh, I like it. Okay, we have over here another map with the San Andreas represented as a bold red line, where the southern end, at least, well, the southern part within California, is to the east of the Salton Sea, which appears to be a good deal east of you, as I had originally thought. So, okay, yeah, whether the other the Rose Canyon Fault is part of the San Andreas system, I don't know, but I am not a geologist. Where's Stephen Bowman when you need him?
Let's see here. All right. Earthquake Country Alliance, San Diego County. Those lucky enough to live in San Diego County know how breathtaking the area can be, but like all of California, San Diego is earthquake country. Understanding the risks and preparing to survive and recover can help keep your family safe, blah, 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 blah. Most people in San Diego County live less than 15 miles from a fault that can have a damaging earthquake, such as the Rose Canyon Fault, like you mentioned, along the coast and beneath downtown San Diego, and the Elsinore and San Jacinto. I don't know. I should know how to pronounce that. I'm sure I've been living here long enough. Faults that cut through these county, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't even mention the San Andreas.
Okay.
San Andreas. Okay. Here we go. In Southern California, the San Andreas Fault often gets most of the attention, and both it and the San Flava Fault, the state's second most active fault in northeast San Diego County, are more than 60 miles away from the more populated parts of the county. Residents, San Diego, earthquakes. Okay. However, it may surprise many to know that a major fault called the Rose Canyon, yes. But it doesn't really say much about the San Andreas and its effect or potential effect on San Diego. It just doesn't come up.
Okay, then.
I mean, it mentions that there would definitely be some shaking here if the San Andreas went, but it doesn't say like, oh yeah, and it'll destroy all of yous. So, you know.
Yeah, let's see, there's the Rose Canyon, which is the
Well, of course, it's a matter of the magnitude, so it might be if something's only like a 5, you're not really going to much notice it, but if it's a 9, that's another story.
Well, true, but I mean, like the real question I had, because I have heard that if the San Andreas goes, it won't affect San Diego. But now I can't find any real information on what would happen. Like it's not even a matter of would we feel it, at least not for me. The question is, will it destroy us?
Yeah. Are any buildings going to crumble?
And it's like, again, I'm only curious about the San Andreas. I'm sure there's something else that could destroy San Diego, but right now, San Andreas.
Yeah, as Purple said, magnitude has a lot to do with it too. I've been through 2 earthquakes. I mean, living where I live, I've been through 2 earthquakes, which is interesting when you think about that. But they were so far down on the magnitude list. I think they were magnitude 3, 4 at most. Where there was one earthquake, I knew that there was the earthquake happening only when it felt like the floor shifted very, very slightly. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, is that one of my, what do you want to call it, imbalance things showing up? And then I looked over at the wine rack, and the level of the wine was, doing one of these things with the wavy, and said, yeah, we went through an earthquake. All right. That's the one where you saw the pictures on Facebook, I think it was at the time, where somebody had lawn furniture and they overturned one chair, and it was, we shall rebuild. That one.
Yeah. Yeah, back in the 1980s, we actually had an earthquake in Minnesota. It was like a 5.2, and I was actually living about 10 miles from the epicenter.
Oh, yay.
it was the same kind of thing. It's like it kind of, rattled things on the shelves, but that was the extent of it.
Yeah, like, a month or so ago, I was sitting at my computer and all of a sudden my chair just went wobble, wobble, wobble. And that was it. And I was like, was that an earthquake? Because I sure didn't do that. And I'm pretty sure the cats didn't either.
Yeah, I've actually suffered worse tremors from having a freight train passing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it felt stronger than that mostly, but still it felt like someone was behind my chair, grabbed the headrest, and just sort of waggled it about an inch or two back and forth in either direction.
Okay. The other earthquake, years and years and years ago, I was still living in Cleveland at the time. That was, you heard a noise that sounded like an MRI machine. Like, and it felt like the house was shaking at a high frequency. But other than that, no big deal. That's the one that had the epicenter by the Perry nuclear power plant. So there were some people worried about that one for a while, but nothing bad happened. So, or at least not that anybody knows. We've got fish with extra heads, but we had those already in Lake Erie. Okay,
Guide fish.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I'm looking. That Rose Canyon Fault is barely even near me. I mean, relatively speaking, based on the size of San Diego itself, that's not very close.
Yeah, it's not in your backyard. Definitely not.
Well, I mean, even if it was, it's like, yeah, that you were right. It's between me and Coronado, but I'm still pretty deep into the city from Coronado. So, I mean, I don't know how big an earthquake at this Rose Canyon Fault Zone has to be to really affect me much. But, I mean, like, if it's minor, it probably won't affect me at all. Although this San unpronounceable thing is another story entirely. Oh, no, I take that back. It's the Elsinore that's another story entirely.
Okay, well, if I have the San unpronounceable correct, yeah, the Elsinore is between that and you. Let me look over here and see what you've got going.
It's a little hard to tell what I'm looking at just because this map is at a weird scale.
Are you thinking of the? I'm sorry.
No, the Elsinore goes way further from me than the Rose Canyon. Never mind. I'm finally starting to figure out this map. I needed more context.
Are you thinking of the San Jacinto, or is there another one?
Yeah, that one. That's okay. My brain kept trying to pronounce that as if there was a U after the J.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like San Juan.
Yes.
And so my brain kept trying to make that Jacinto.
Moo.
But yeah, no, if anything happens, it'll probably be at the Rose Canyon thing. Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever. I'll figure something out. And that's one of the problems of living on the West Coast is earthquakes. But then again, there's a fault line not too terribly far from where I was living in Vermont. So I've never not lived in earthquake country.
There are faults where people do not expect faults to be. Yet there are. How about the what's the fault that runs through Missouri? Yes, I did say that. The fault that runs through Missouri. The one that shook up the state pretty well.
Couldn't I tell you? But, okay, so here's a question. Which would you rather be the bigger danger, earthquakes or fire tsunamis? You've been hearing about those
Oh,
like
yes,
hurricanes
absolutely.
they have going on here.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, wildfires don't tend to reach San Diego, but
Well,
still.
I've heard of them coming rather close.
Yes, but
Um,
that's why I said tend.
yeah, one of my exes lives in San Diego, and he was describing a firestorm a few years ago, not all that long, where the entire city was shrouded in smoke, and he was afraid that he
Well,
was going to have to evacuate.
at least we're already wearing masks.
There you are. Oh,
Oh
and the
gosh, I don't
fault.
even want to know. Like, if we ever have to evacuate this city and I have to put the cats somewhere, I only have one cat carrier, and these two hate each other.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've thought of that sort of thing. I have only one cat carrier.
Yes,
Were
but
I
you
to,
also only have one cat. I
but
mean,
I've tried to have more than one, and that's where I was kind of headed.
hmm,
Unfortunately, twice it fell through. Um, so maybe it's a good thing that I did not have success with
yeah.
trying to get another kitty. Oh, and the other fault, the one through Missouri, that's the New Madrid fault line.
Were you just
That
trying to say Madrid?
No,
No? How is it spelled?
it is spelled as if it were Madrid. It is Madrid. My understanding is they call it the New Madrid.
Oy. All right.
Um,
Well, I never can tell. Every now and then you pronounce something just a little bit off.
every now and then.
Yes, every now and then.
Only every now and then.
Yes, every now and then.
Well, you should definitely have a carrier for each of your animals,
Well, what I
and they
figure
are
is one
something
of
you can
them.
often find at thrift stores.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, I'm sure as hell not going into one of those during a pandemic. But the thing is, like, I figure one of them can go in a backpack, and I have multiple backpacks. I'm sure the one who ends up in the backpack won't like it, but if it's an emergency situation and we have to flee, I think it's something they can cope with.
Yep.
Hopefully, yeah. That's interesting, though. I had a thought. I don't know whether these are out there already, but would it be an interesting thing to have a backpack where your non human companion can get in and the face can poke out of the top of the
Well,
backpack?
they
Actually, they
have something similar, but
yep.
they're like porthole windows in the backpack.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like a backpack that's got some mesh along the sides so it can breathe, and it's
Oh,
got
not just that.
yeah, and it's got like a big bubble that they can look out and see what's going on.
Yep. It's like kind of adorable in a way, and I guess you could also say it's kind of adorkable. But
Yeah. There was one
share this screen now,
Yeah.
Plox.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at that, will you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that reminds me of the cupola on the ISS. Yeah.
So
I could actually see Sammy being
options.
okay there.
There are definitely options in terms of how to transport a pet.
Yeah, I've actually
One
thought
thing,
about getting one of those for Sammy-san because I think he would like the idea that he's safe, but I could take him outside and he could see what's going on.
okay then.
Well, I mean, and they have even better options, really. Share this one because
Okay.
it's translucent.
Oh, for the love of Saint Gulick, how do you
yeah.
like that? Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I could totally see. I don't think Columbia would like this, but Xander would probably get a kick out of it.
Yeah, that's like Petunia would never tolerate it, but I think Sammy would like it.
And I also might have those two reversed. You can never tell with these kitties.
Yeah. I tell you, one of the things I wished I could have had back in the days of Miranda. She was always clingy. She always wanted to be around me. That's where she felt safe. I wanted to do something similar to one of those there's baby carriers where you wore the infant around your neck and it hung at your chest, that sort of thing. And I was kind of wishing that I could have something like that for Miranda, where I could go and do things and be places and stuff like that with her poking her little kitty feet out of the thing and the face out there. And yeah, okay, there's my human and there's the world and everything. Maybe it would have been okay. I don't know. But
yeah, Grey Wolf put links in the side chat for Amazon where you can buy cat carriers and buy those backpacks.
So this cat you had, Miranda, did she
yes,
meow a lot?
She didn't say much.
Okay,
There were
so what you're
times.
saying is that she had the right to remain silent.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
There were times where we would carry on extended conversations, but it was when she and I were talking. It was not where she would just do. She's not like, or she was not like the little one is now. Sylvia is, where Sylvia will meow 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 meow.
Yeah.
Xander's like that. Xander is a talker. He'll just be walking around the apartment aimlessly, meow meow meow. Just constantly. I take that back. Not constantly. If he gets started, it will go for quite some time. But but like there will be long stretches, hours and hours where he doesn't do it, and then all of a sudden, he's chatting again.
I don't know what's changed here, but when I was living in Michigan, Sammy's son would go literally weeks at a time. I would never hear a noise out of him. And like in the last 2 months, he's become very talkative.
Okay. Yeah, Sylvia will talk at me when she wants my attention.
Sammy's actually gotten to the point of being annoying, and that sometimes in the mornings he's waking me up, and he never did that before.
Yeah, she'll be doing them while she's stuffing her head under my hand, saying, pet me, come on, pet.
It's interesting how cats interact sometimes with a petting hand. Like, there'll be times where I'm petting Columbia on the head, and she absolutely loves it. But then, like, I'll shift a little bit, and she will turn her head in such a way that now it's like pressing so hard into my hand that I can't pet her anymore. Right? Like if I try to move my hand, I'm just shifting her head around rather than actually petting. And I'm like, you realize you're being your own worst enemy right now, don't you, kitten? Because right now I can't pet you. So unless you want hand pillows, let up a little so I can get some freer movement. But well, if that's her thing, that's her thing. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, this one, she will actually change her orientation with respect to the petting hand when she wants a different spot petted or scratched or whatever. It's really interesting. The hand will be there, and then she's moving her head and face around to over here now.
Well, I mean, all cats do that in my experience, but with Columbia, it's more a matter of she's interfering with what she wants. Xander, on the other hand, is a lot more assertive about, I want you to pet me now, where Columbia is very timid about that sort of thing. Like, it's hard to get her to sit on my lap because she doesn't recognize when she's being invited.
Moo, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she still has that problem.
But, Xander is the sort where, like, my hand might be, say, on the trackball, and he will put his head under the wrist and start shoving his head in between me and the mouse. And I'm like, Xander, stop it.
I know that all too well. It's like, you're using your hand for the wrong damn thing over here.
So what you're saying is I should be petting the pussy.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. If I've been on the computer too much, Sammy will come and start headbutting the keyboard.
Oh my!
Xander's staring at me from across the room. I think he heard his name a few too many times.
Oh my! Okay, what do we have here? Because
Oh, Purple, you're talking about power outages in the chat there. We had a power outage not too long ago where they had to extend it for 2.5 hours because they hit bedrock that they did not expect to find. So that was a pain in the ass. But the bigger pain in the ass is, oh yeah, they warned me this was coming, but they didn't warn me when they changed the date and time.
Oh, I remember you mentioning that one.
Yeah, and now they're talking about rolling blackouts because people are consuming too much power. And why are people consuming too much power? Because everyone's at home instead of at work, so people aren't centralized in one building. And we're in the middle of a heat wave, so everybody is running their own personal AC and fans, thus consuming way more power than usual. Thus, we may be looking at rolling blackouts because we just
trying to air condition a bunch of houses rather than one big office building takes a lot more.
And because you're in San Diego, these rolling blackouts may extend until what, December?
What? No, not that long. But, if we're not warned about blackouts in time, I might be in the middle of animating something and lose a shit ton of work because they didn't tell us, oh, yeah, lights out now. So,
yeah.
It's almost enough to make me wish I had my own portable generator.
Oh, man. I wish I could have that because we occasionally, more than occasionally, have that sort of problem. Some drunk runs into a utility pole and takes power out for 5 or 6 hours. Usually right in the middle of something important. I've had 2 broadcasts interrupted that way already.
Well, this big storm that hit Iowa, some parts of Iowa have been without power for like 4 days now.
Not fun.
It's
not fun.
Okay, it would be inconvenient. I could survive without electricity. The problem is that everything here is electric heat.
Ooh.
So if I don't have electricity, I can't even warm up a cup of tea. And if that happens in the winter when it's like 30 or 40 below, a couple hours without heat can be a big issue.
Tell me about it. Yeah. Because I haven't been in 30 below. I've been in 10 below without heat, and that's not the most comfortable situation to be in. Oh, hi, Harmonica Man, sweetie. Yay.
Oh, it's so weird sometimes. I was just looking
tornadoes
at
here.
Because
I saw.
I had argued with someone. Well, not really argued. I guess we were discussing more than anything else, really, about the whole rocks are atheists thing. And but one of the things they said was, "Oh my God, you actually responded to one of my tweets. It's an honor. I followed you on YouTube for a long time. Big fan." And I'm like, you realize I'm just some schmuck at a computer, right? I mean, I'm not that special. You know that, right?
Well, you've had a following for over a decade, It's going to happen once in a while.
I know, but it's still like maybe it'd be different to be like a Hollywood star or a musician, where they get a lot of offline attention. Without that, I just feel weird getting praise.
I enter. Yay. Well, you ought to get used to it, really, because there's quite a bit of it that comes from this direction to yours. But, what can I tell you?
But I'm not sure it's warranted.
Oh.
Well, come on. You're a smidge on the biased side, and
Well, yes, admittedly, but still,
I suppose it's something on the same level as an author gets, that most people won't recognize them most of the time, but once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Someday I hope to bump into an author or something that I really like and didn't expect to see. So I can say, hey, I really appreciate your work. It kind of happened once. I was walking through a bookstore with someone who's now my ex, and she and I spotted a crowd. and we saw two authors. And we looked around for something that indicated who they were, and we found it. And it turned out one of them was one of my absolutely most favoriteest fantasy authors ever, Stephen Bruce. And next to him was, and I'm never sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Paul Anderson, but it's spelled P-O-U-L for some reason. I think it's pronounced Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's Powell Anderson.
What?
Powell Anderson is how I've heard it pronounced.
Well, I've never heard it pronounced, so I was never sure, except I think once I heard it pronounced and they said Paul, but I don't know. Regardless, point being that, yeah, I did bump into, like, I had that situation once where I bumped into a favorite author, and like now he and I are actually Facebook friends, which is really cool. But still, I mean, you know, never really got much of a chance to chat with the guy afterward. Like, he didn't do a signing, or if he did, it was before the group chat session. I don't know.
Okay, then.
Point being, I think I understand what you're saying.
There was a time I tried to be an author. I wasn't too good at it, so, you know.
Yeah, I have some story ideas that I'd like to implement, but reading over what I wrote, I'm like, oh yeah, this is garbage. Well, I mean, it's a great idea. It really is a great idea, but I'm not sure I have the ability to realize it in full. I tried. I really tried, but I think maybe it's just that animation is my medium rather than prose.
Okay, that works. It definitely works.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, I can write a story. I can't draw anything.
Well,
so just as far as any kind of illustration or anything, I can't do it.
Oh, no. Is Harmonica Man having troubles too?
Well, you do, just because you use a computer instead of a pen. It's, you know, it's still artistic.
Well, sure, but I wouldn't call it drawing is the point.
Okay, I don't have a better word for it.
Does drawing have to be with a pencil?
I would say, well, it doesn't have to be with a pencil, but I do think it has to be done with some sort of writing implement-esque device to be drawn.
Okay, you create graphic representations of characters.
This is true.
Oh, boy.
I am still working. I am practicing my artwork. And at the rate I'm going, in another year or so, I can do fan art for Professor Stick.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, I have been tempted to do some 3D fan art for people for a while and just haven't done it because I have my own projects. Maybe when my projects are done, I'll think about it. I've mainly been wanting to do like an animated Surus, you know, his avatar with the hammer and all.
Okay.
Yeah. But it'll be a while because I have to finish, you know, Quinn Redshift first, which is going really well. I'm very close to the 5-minute mark.
It's amazing when you really think about it. You know, you're close to 5 minutes, and how long have you been putting into it? So it's amazing how much work goes into every frame, every second.
Well, no. Because so much of it is set up. So much of it is just building the 3D models and rigging them to move properly and making sure the visual effects look good. Before you ever start to animate, you have months, if not years, of work ahead of you just to build all of it.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, and that's part of it. I mean, it's not directly represented in the frames, but you have to do it in order to have those frames.
Well, yes, but I mean, like, there's a lot about the procedure of animation, starting with a blank canvas, that a lot of people don't seem to get. Like just because they've never done it. I remember someone actually said to me, I don't like computer animation because they don't work. All you do is push a button. And I'm like, oh, you clueless little wood nymph. That is not how this works. Oh, you have no idea how this works at all. But oh well.
Oh my, yeah, it's interesting to think of a person's idea of what someone else does when they don't have the first idea of what that thing that someone else does is. Could be anything, but yeah, it's they have no idea, and it's just oh well.
Yeah, my only reference frame for animation was doing some stop motion stuff with the Super 8 movie camera.
Oh my word, yes. A friend of mine did some of that stuff years ago.
I did some of that when I was little.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I was doing that with the Star Wars figures.
Okay.
We did ours with clay.
Tom sat on the sidewalk or lawn or wherever he happened to be at the time, and we did those whole stop motion thing where he was driving, but just sitting there and just going around, and amazing how long that took and how much planning had to go into that. Yeah. This was oh god, back in the early 70s.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about the production pipeline for that music video for Take On Me. You know, the one where they're like rotating around this sort of painting window mirror, whatever the frig it was, and like depending on which side we were looking at, one side would be live action and the other would be sort of black and white hand drawn animation. You know the video I'm talking about?
No, I don't, but I think I might want to look this up.
Yeah.
I'm vaguely remembering it from MTV, but
wow. Okay. Clearly, we are from different eras.
Yes.
It's a very well known video. I'm kind of surprised, but yeah, I mean, it was all rotoscoping, obviously, but I'm still curious what went into making it. You know, like what were their production procedures?
Yeah.
But hold on, let me share a screen.
Okay, then. Already, let's.
That's what the Take On Me video looked like. You can see the one dude is in, you know, like rotoscoped in that artwork style, and she's totally not. But then, you know, you can totally what? No, it's not supposed to be sharing that screen. It was supposed to be sharing a window. I don't like this new system, but yeah.
What did you just say?
What?
What did you just say? You know, like
I
this
said
new
I
system.
don't. Well, because it doesn't work properly.
I'll just keep my mouth shut.
What? I don't. You what? I don't.
Are you
I've never
complaining
liked
about?
the way sharing screens works in this system.
I'm just giving you a hard time, really. I am.
Yeah, but it was context-free hard time, so it didn't work.
Well,
But
you were always telling me to come over here because you didn't like the way Meet worked.
Well, it wasn't so much that; it was the way you were implementing it.
I have a feeling that it would do a lot better had I a fatter pipe.
What?
I have a feeling that the whole system I was using would do a lot better had I a broader bandwidth, faster
bandwidth. Okay, see, you said bigger pipe, and I'm
yes.
You have smoked a pipe in the past, so my brain went there first.
Oh, okay, yeah. A high-speed connection is referred to in some circles as a fat pipe.
I have never heard that.
Okay.
Well, I haven't.
I believe you. I believe you. Well, there's a new application for Shut Up, Clarion.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of like, you know how people will say "shut up, Wesley" a lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my. We're talking over in the side chat about a manuscript. It's wonderful the
yeah.
way it's wonderful the way the conversation goes on in the side chat. And a lot of times, people are just doing their own thing over there, and not necessarily watching over here, which is not a bad thing, guys. Or at least you're here.
Yep.
And
Well, no, they should be paying attention to us because we're the only thing that matters. We're the only thing that's important in this world.
Yeah, well, kind of going back to your earlier problems. That
what
when
are
I
we,
had
Donald Trump?
Well, no, when I had a hard drive crash about 2.5 years ago, I basically lost everything I had written for the best part of a year.
Not
so there's
fun.
still a lot of stories I need to recreate from memory, but it gets really discouraging to sit down and rewrite something I already wrote.
Well, that kind of thing, I lost some huge projects to disk crashes, and so that's why I have this external backup hard drive.
Yeah.
So,
same here now. I've got an external hard drive too, although I don't do backups as often as I should.
I know that feeling. It can be a pain in the ass to do backups, but
but when you don't do them and things go, then you wish you had.
Mm-hmm. And I just completed this really badass looking special effects shot, and I absolutely need to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm. I remember one place I worked, we had 10 levels of backup. We backed up every workday. And then, when we hit Friday, we took that set of 5 to the safe deposit box, took the other set of 5 out of the safe deposit box, and did the whole thing again, Monday through Friday, and just rotated that way. That's the kind of thing I'd love to have, but unfortunately, I don't have the cash for that many drives. And
yeah, well, when I was working at a video game company, we did like not just backups. Everything was backed up. Every time you hit save on your project, the thing you saved gets backed up. Like, it's not a daily
thing.
Right then and there, you saved it. It's in the backup archive as well as your hard drive.
So you had a sort of, do you know what I'm saying when I talk about a journaling file system?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay. That is what you were talking about, where you do something, and as you do it, it makes a backup copy of what you just did. And it's an incremental backup system where it only backs up what you're doing until you tell it, okay, now do everything. And then you start from tabula rasa again, and then your every keystroke gets backed up. And the 4th extended file system under Linux is like that.
Yeah, that'd be a nice thing to have. I wonder if there's anything. I use Apache Office for the word processor, and it'd be nice if there was something that would, automatically save it to both the internal and the external hard drive.
Well, I know that a lot of the my book from Western Digital were marketed that way, to have it connected to your system and running all the time. And you were backing up everything to the drive. You bought additional software, but of course it ran. Well, you'd be fine with it. I couldn't use it. It only ran under WinCrap. I am pretty sure that there's something that runs under Unix type systems. I just haven't looked at anything yet. Like I say, I don't have the hardware for it at the moment.
Yeah, I need to get you here for a couple of days. I've basically been told the only way to fix my computer is going to be to reinstall Windows, and I just don't think I can do that on my own.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because there are some things you need to do. And if you don't do them, then Microsoft doesn't like you very much.
Yeah.
That whole thing where they keep a copy of the key that you used, and then your system phones home and checks if your key is the same as the one they have, and and if you don't do things just right, then you run into problems with that. Because I reinstalled WinPoo. I moved it from this machine to the older machine, and good thing it was that I discovered that when I was looking around to see what I had to do, because I was able to disable, if you will, the key on the on the new machine, and then move it to the older machine, and then reinstall. I still had to go through the whole background check that they do. They're like the TSA when you're trying to install Windows, but that sort of thing.
This problem I'm having with my USB drivers, I've gone through it with a couple of people, and that's basically the conclusion, is that something's gotten messed up in the Windows files, and reinstalling all of Windows is the only way I'm likely to fix it.
It's really unfortunate when it comes down to something like that, where you have to start all over again. I mean, there are times under the Unix type systems where you have to do that, but they're not very often.
Yeah.
You can fix major blocks of the system.
Well, and that's why I'm at the point that, the computer still works and I can still do the internet stuff. So I don't really want to make it worse, but at the same time, I can't use half of my peripherals.
I'm sort of in a similar place at the moment because right now I'm using Windows 8.1 because that's the OS that is compatible with my animation software. So I kind of have to use it. I tried installing Windows 10 at one point and my animation software wouldn't work anymore. So I rolled back to 8.1. The problem is that now I don't trust any of the updates from Microsoft. There are available updates. Please install them. And I'm like, no, I'm not installing jack shit. Not until my animation is done or I manage to get a newer copy of my animation software or something, because, I don't want to get everything screwed up and now I can't work anymore.
Well, that's what happened to me, that everything was working fine. And Windows decided to do a new update, and since then, it doesn't recognize half the stuff plugged into the USB ports.
Oh, my honey, Amiga, you said you got your new test drive, and you're thanking me. Why are you thanking me? What did I do? I mean, really, I'd like to figure that one out, but... oh, well then. And I just figured out how to do this. And then I'll have to figure out how to take it off when its usefulness is outlived.
You just click on the same highlighted comment again, and it goes down.
Oh, okay, fine. Yay. I mean, this is something that I do like, where you can highlight somebody's, whatever they said. Yeah,
StreamYards is really easy. That's its greatest asset. That somebody who's never used anything can generally pick it up pretty quickly.
Oh man, now I'm reminded of that film, and I can't remember what the heck the film's name was. It was about somebody embezzling in various currencies, and there was one point at which he had mentioned something about assets and to his wife, and his wife, the stereotypical dumb girl, which, oh well, it worked for the film. It was a comedy. He said, "What's an asset?" And he answered, "A young female donkey."
I knew something like that was coming. Actually, that's one thing that's always kind of bothered me, is when you take a name that is traditionally masculine and then you add like E or et to the end of it, and all of a sudden it becomes a feminine name, like Georgette. Just sounds silly.
Okay.
Or Bernadette or any of those. I'm like, yeah, no. I wonder if there's any like traditionally feminine names where you add something to it and it becomes a boy name.
Hey, nerdy.
Okay. Hi,
I don't think
nerdy.
you're likely to run into that in anything in English because the male is always the default.
Yeah,
Well, what English does to Russian names is really interesting. You see, Sasha is a boy's name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What the hell? Ugh.
I have no idea.
Sorry, I was surfing on Amazon and it auto played a video.
Oh.
Yeah, in English, Sasha is the equivalent of Sandy, as in Sandy Koufax Alexander.
Well, but Sandy is a fairly, let's say, androgynous name.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because you've also
Actually,
got, like, say, for example, Sandy Duncan.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I would automatically assume you were referring to a woman with Sandy.
I'm not.
I really
sure
can't
what
think
I
of
would.
ever having run into it being used for a man.
Well, as I
I'm
said,
not
Sandy
sure I've ever
Koufax, the
encountered
Dodgers
it
pitcher.
outside of a celebrity.
I
Yeah.
knew a Sandy at one point years ago. He was Alexander, and he preferred being called Sandy. And it was okay, fine. Well, I've known a Sandy, a male Sandy. I've known a male Connie.
That one I've never heard of. The one
Conrad.
that knocks me out, honestly, is Angie, as short for Angelo.
Yes, I knew an Angie as well. He ran
Yeah.
the delicatessen down the street from me in Parma. Yeah.
Well, as I'm fond of mentioning, my dad's side of the family is Sicilian. We had an Angie. Believe me, we had an Angie.
Yeah, the guy I'm thinking of was Angelo Trunket. And I don't know if Trunket was Americanized from something in Italian. It must have been, because he was quite Italian.
Yeah, you know, it's funny how you can say that, and it definitely generates an image.
Sure. I mean, the whole Mediterranean look and everything. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that. I actually caught myself the other day, like, Xander's getting weird about his food. Hell, Xander and Columbia are getting weird about their food. I noticed the other day, I watched them switch bowls in the middle of a meal, and I don't know why. They're just, well, I guess they're just being cats, because that's what cats do.
Mm-hmm.
But more than that, though, Xander seems hesitant to start a meal lately. Like, for some reason, he stares at his bowl, and I'm like, no, you can eat. You're totally allowed to eat. And then the other day, I caught myself going, come on, manja, manja, you know. And then I realized, oh my gosh, my parents used to say that all the time, or at least my dad did. And my mom sort of picked it up by osmosis. But still, like, I hadn't actually said that for quite some time.
Well, you're very welcome, amiga. And I thank you again for I mean, geez, it's still in the sealed bag that you got it in, for Christ's sake. I don't know, honey. But, yeah, that couldn't have been, well, it could have been cheap, but cheap is a relative thing, too, as far as that goes. And then you're going on Western Digital Reds. God, they can take a lot of use. I'm trying to remember what is the name for which Shirley is a shortened form or a diminutive.
I never would have thought Shirley was a shortened thing, although I will guess Cheryl.
Okay, could be. Tara, what was, if it's okay, what was Grandpa's name, formal name?
It's usually like Salvatore or Salvador, Salvatore, that kind of thing.
For that one, I've mostly heard Sal.
Yeah, well, no reason it can't be Sally.
No reason at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, okay, way back in like the late 80s, the Cold War is dying down. We're starting to be friends with Russia again. And there was this movie that came out called Ruskies. And it was about like these two three rabidly like pro army kids, and they end up encountering like a shipwrecked like Russian soldier from a submarine, and these kids end up like capturing him and then later befriending him. Of course they do. And the guy's name is Misha. And when they encounter a bunch of like actual military guys and I find out the dude's name is Misha, of course they make fun of him because it sounds kind of like a girl's name.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it.
Okay.
Russian names.
I'm looking up over here, and there are a couple. Shirley Abbott, an ambassador, died in 2013. American businessman, diplomat, and politician Shirley Brooks, 1816 to 1874, and it sort of drops off the end. But I'm
yes.
Yeah, shortened names. Like your name, Hans, what, as in Hansel?
Isn't Hans usually just its own name?
I don't know.
I mean, I honestly, genuinely thought it was its own name.
Same here, but I don't know.
Maybe Hans here means the PS part is the shortened bit.
That's a possible.
Of course, I figure Hans PlayStation Hansen is not correct.
Oh!
Well, I mean, that's usually what PS means in my world. It's kind of like how when I moved to San Diego, everyone says SD to shorten San Diego. But in my world, SD is short for Star Destroyer.
Okay, then.
So every time someone says, hey, we're having a good time in SD, I'm like, I want to be on a Star Destroyer. That sounds like an absolute blast. But, well...
Yep.
Hans is a shortened form of Johannes.
Oh.
I did not know that. Now I do. Thank you.
And knowing is half the battle.
Yep.
I knew I'd heard a longer form of it, but I couldn't think of what it was.
Still, there are some short versions of names that make absolutely no sense. I still want to say, ask, how does anyone get Dick from Richard?
Yeah, or Bob from Robert.
Yeah.
I looked that up at one point, and I cannot remember why. But
or Bill from William. Like Will, I get, but Bill?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, that and that's like with all of those, it's like they arbitrarily changed the first letter.
Yeah.
Moo.
Rob for Robert would make sense. Where do you get Bob?
I don't know. But you notice how like Bob and Bill are both B. Like, where originally it wasn't. And I'm just wondering, do we have some sort of weird B fetish when it comes to naming people?
I don't know, maybe.
I mean, what else?
B and the V.
Well, I wonder if it's like some particular accent that it got pronounced as a B instead.
Well, you know what I'm going to do from now on? Anyone whose name is Michael, from now on, your nickname is Bike.
All right. Now we're
talking. We got Mike already. Why not Bike to go with Bob and Bill?
Nerdy would like to know, what is Purple Rhymes with Orange short for?
Well, usually short on cash, but...
Oh, yeah, I thought Purple Rhymes with Orange was short for Stan.
There you go.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's not like I've made a secret of it, but I wonder how many people realize that Kate is short for Catherine.
I don't know. I mean, I knew that, yes, but I don't know how many don't know.
And when someone calls me Catherine, it's inevitably my mom because she's pissed. I'm Kate right up until I piss off my mom. And then, oh my gosh, Catherine Haley Farr, and it's like, oh shit, I better run away.
Well, my fiance was Kat. And her mother was the only one who ever called her Catherine.
Okay. Yeah, I knew about the Catherine Kate thing, but Kate Hepburn.
I've never heard her called that.
I've heard her called that a few times.
Yeah, I've heard it in like interviews or reporters a couple of times.
Yeah. No, I've only ever heard her called Katharine Hepburn. But then I've never seen her interviewed. I've only seen her in movies.
Okay,
I'm
there
not
you
sure
go.
if I've seen her in that many movies. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure I've seen her in any movies. It may just be I know her name. To IMDb. Is she dead?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. All I have to do
here
is
we go. Wow, she
figure
left
out what.
2003. Imagine that. What got you? Oh, natural causes. Never mind. Let's see. Okay. Wow, she stopped making movies in 94.
Yeah, well, what year was she born?
Okay, my parents forced me to watch On Golden Pond, so I've definitely seen her in something.
Uh-huh.
That was not a, age in the single digits Kate movie by any stretch.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think what year she was born.
She was born in 1907, believe it or not. It's still not coming out that Bud Abbott was born in the 1800s.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that either.
Let's see here. No, I'm not seeing anything other than On Golden Pond that I saw with her in it.
So you never saw any of the Tracy Hepburn movies?
Why would I?
I don't know. Maybe just one fell out of the sky onto your head or something.
Well, let me ask you 5 questions about movies, the Grant Hepburn movies. Okay, number 1, are there any spaceships?
Let's see. I believe there's a paucity of spaceships in those films.
Okay, number 2, are there any laser guns?
Aside from some of the comments, no.
Question 3, are there any aliens?
I don't think so.
Okay, question number 4, are there any robots?
Oh my. I don't know if you could count any of the office equipment. No. Okay.
We're talking C-3PO and R2-D2 style robots here. Okay, question number 5. Why the hell would I like any of these movies?
I don't know. Maybe something would just come out of left field.
The majority of her movies were in black and white, so.
Yes.
Black and white. I have so few black and white movies on my shelf. And so few that were black and white because there was no other option. Like Clerks was in black and white. I suppose there was another option, although kind of not budgetarily. And I think, I have a bunch of old retro sci-fi stuff like Them and all of those, like with the giant ant movies. And what's the one? Because I always mix up Forbidden Planet, This Island Earth, and When the Earth Stood Still. I think I'm thinking of When the Earth Stood Still. Because that was in black and white, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the other 2 were not, if I recall correctly.
I believe you recall correctly.
Yeah, Forbidden Planet was in color.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure This Island... I know This Island Earth was. Hell, I'm trying to remember something. What? That's not possible. Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Never mind. Sorry, I was looking at a movie from 1983 called Casablanca, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, when I was growing up, science fiction movies in color were considered high special effects.
Yeah, not so much for me. Being born in 75, we were pretty used to color at that point.
Yeah. I was born the same year that NBC began broadcasting in color.
Okay. I do remember having black and white television sets, but, you know.
Yeah, well, and that was the thing that
I remember
I was like 8 years old before we had a color TV in the house.
Yeah. We never did.
You were that young?
Tinfoil.
Oh my word.
We never did put tinfoil on the rabbit ears, but, you know.
Oh, I did that.
I remember when the programming guides for the television came with the newspapers on I think it was on Fridays, and I remember a time when the listing for the program indicated whether or not it was broadcast in color.
Oh, okay. I remember part of my routine every day was to go down, grab the paper, and read the comics, and the television section was right next to them, so I looked at that too.
Yep.
Okay then.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I remember a newspaper strip of a Star Wars comic, and it was not that good. But we had a Star Wars comic as a newspaper strip. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I used to get so irritated. I used to get so irritated when people would call them cartoons, and I'm like, no, cartoons are animated. These are comics.
Yep.
I mean, I guess like now the single panel political cartoons, I'm flexible on them, but darn it, The Far Side is a comic. I don't care.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, was it Gary Larson or was it the dude who drew Dilbert who just came out as a rabid right winger?
Oh, that's Scott Adams,
the guy who does Dilbert.
Dilbert.
All right.
Yeah, I cried.
Yeah, Gary Larson is still cool.
Yeah. I wish Bill Watterson would do something again.
What did he do? The name's familiar, but
Watterson
Kelvin.
did.
Okay.
Kelvin and Hobbes.
You know, it's funny. Like I'd never heard the name Hobbes before that comic, and when my parents said it, they said Hobbes, and I was like, okay, so in my head, it's still Calvin and Hobbes, even though it's totally not.
So it was not Hobbes?
No, it was just Hobbes.
Okay. Just checking.
But I know that's wrong. It's just really hard to get that out of my head because it wasn't for years later before I heard someone say Hobbes. And I was like, what? So, yeah, I still read it that way in my head, even though I know it's wrong.
Hans is saying that in Norway, the Christian Party wanted to stop color TV.
Why?
Yeah, can we get an explanation on that?
I mean, like, let's face it, religious groups tend to be against fun in general. Like, it doesn't even matter. It's just they hate fun.
Well, have you seen some of the pictures that have been circulating on Twitter lately of the signs, the people who are going to hell? And, you've got musicians in there, and you've got dancers, and you've got...
People who play Pokemon.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you do have the standard fornicators and adulterers, and they're always worried about that shit. But, I mean, seriously, vegetarians? What?
Have you ever seen an old Tom Hanks movie that was actually one of those like special presentations on TV rather than a theatrical release called Mazes and Monsters? And it was basically like an hour-long calling out of people who play Dungeons and Dragons. It's from like 1983 or some shit.
And I saw that at some point, yeah.
Bad. Oh my gosh. Like Tom Hanks descends into madness while he's LARPing and like ends up in an insane asylum because he played this Mazes and Monsters D&D ripoff. It's I mean, like watching it now, it's hilarious, but it is also so bad.
Yeah, it was all part of that satanic panic thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It was kind of like, you remember that movie? I think it was called like Detroit Rock City. came out in the 90s where it's about a bunch of kids in the 70s trying like hell to get to a Kiss concert, and the like conservative as hell mom is trying to stop it?
It does not sound familiar at me.
It had
No.
Edward Furlong from the Terminator 2 in it.
No, not ringing any bells, unfortunately.
It's not your kind of movie anyway, but I mean, it happened. It was a thing. And I was wrong. Mazes and Monsters was 82, not 83.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Sorry, I'm looking at the cast of this Mazes and Monsters, and there's actually some mildly famous people in here, but only mildly. Okay, I take it back. Aside from Tom Hanks, there's only 2 of them. But and I only know one of them because she was in Air Force One with Harrison Ford.
Should drop it for Lisa for Truth to do a review of it.
Oh,
she's done a big series on the Satanic Panic and all the stuff involved with that.
Well, it wouldn't shock me if she'd already gotten to that one. But it's just so weird to me. Like, what was the objection to D&D? Was it just that people were doing supernatural stuff that wasn't Jehovah's? Like, was that the whole thing?
Some Christian groups got the idea that playing D&D was actually rituals to summon demons.
Well, sure, but like they had to get that idea somehow, and I can only imagine it was because you can play a cleric class, but the gods are not the Christian God.
Well, to a Christian, everything is a method by which demons are summoned. I mean, seriously, the Democrat convention logo. How many of them are yelling that is, tantamount to the satanic sign with the goat head?
Which logo is this?
The one with, if you turn it sideways, it looks like the Star Trek symbol. Wait a minute now. Let me go and find it.
Oh, that. Okay. Sorry, there's just too many Democrat symbols to know which one you meant.
Yeah, the logo for the convention, and I know Locke was complaining about it, and I think many others were.
Well, what? Because it looks like the Star Trek logo?
No, because it looks like the star, and then there's the goat head inside, and it's all about Satanism and all that shit.
Jeepers!
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, is like the Democratic National Convention is going by the abbreviation D20 now, which to my mind talks about a 20-sided die for D&D. So that's why I actually posted a critical failure meme the other day, because D20 and yeah.
And I'm sure that's a lot of what they're going to get, because they're especially trying to get younger people to vote. And I'm sure that's going to be the most common association for people under 30.
Yeah,
I've actually been prefacing lately, like I'm not a fan of Biden, right? But I'm also not a fan of Trump.
I never would have known.
Yeah. But I'm also not a fan of Trump. But every time I post something that's anti-Biden, everyone says, oh, so you just love Trump. So I've started basically every time I rip on Biden, I will also mention how much Trump sucks. Just to like nip that one in the bud. Oh, you don't like Joe Biden? You must love Trump. Oh, wait a minute. You say you hate Trump too? But I mean, I'm sure they'll say, but you love Trump anyway, just because that's their favorite go-to when you say you don't like Biden. But, at least make them work for it is my point.
Yeah, but for those who don't know already, this was the thing I was talking about, the D20 logo. And then,
if they hadn't had that white triangle behind the Star Trek logo, I think it would have been harder to make the case.
It would have, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, looking at that, I'm also thinking they figure that's their odds of winning is you have to roll higher than a 20.
Hey,
20 is an
remember
automatic success, so that doesn't work out.
remember what happened in 16? I'm not going to be confident about anything.
Well, I remember the logo, the I'm with her logo, had an arrow pointing to the right, and
Yeah.
people made a lot of big deals about that one.
Yes.
But
Yeah, but here you have the whole thing. If you turn that thing
you would
sideways, you
think
get.
that whoever, when they're doing the graphic designs, that they would like test market these with different age groups.
oh, you'd think. Like the what was it, Christian Liberation Initiative or whatever it was, where it was the CLI, and they thought people aren't going to know this.
Oh, that one! Yeah.
And so they put the cross next to it, so it now looks like CLIT. And nobody like this had to have been a Phil moment where someone at the back of the room is going, guys, and they said, shut up, Phil. No one's going to notice it looks like clit. And of course, Phil was right, and they should have listened to Phil.
Yep.
So there's that. So I mean, like, I've often wondered, why aren't these things vetted? It's like there was a oh gosh, what was it? There was some sort of cookie cutter that looked like one thing until the cookies were cooked, and then they all looked like dicks.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was like the Eiffel Tower or something, and it turns into a dick when you cook the cookie.
Yeah, well, with the major political parties, I don't get it at all, because that they have all sorts of, marketing people on their staff, that they would do all this kind of stuff if they were, like running a new campaign for Pepsi or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know.
wouldn't be so sure about that, but I think they do more of it than they do for some of these campaigns. The what do you want to call it? The clit campaign and all the other stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's like I keep saying, is they need to run these things not just by like a focus group. You need to put together a bunch of like punsters and linguists who can go through it and see how it can be warped.
Yep.
You gotta ask people about these things, because we can tell you, look, here's a potential problem. It was like with when they changed Chaz to Chop in Seattle, and I'm like, you realize somewhere is going to go chop, so it's violent, right? You're chopping people up. Obviously, it's a bad thing to call it chop. And I'm like, why would you guys not realize this? Someone somewhere had to be a Phil at the back of the room saying chop. Really, guys? I don't think so. But they all said, shut up, Phil. I'm sure that's what happened.
Well, and I'm sure they were trying to get away from Chaz because that had the association with incels.
Well, I'd never heard that. I remember them saying, like actual Seattleites saying, yeah, we had to change it from Chaz because it sounds like your white guy friend, and this is a black movement, is what they said.
Uh-huh.
Which, I mean, I get it. I get the reasoning, but you still changed it to chop.
And here I was actually thinking that they got rid of the Chaz because of the vague reference to Chaz Bono, but and they wouldn't want to be.
Nobody was thinking of that at all.
Okay.
I mean, like, it certainly didn't occur to me. I've never heard anyone but you say it. I don't think that anyone thought for a moment about Chaz Bono.
Well, that one hadn't occurred to me, but I can see, where people in certain groups would make that association.
Well,
especially if you don't like trans folks.
But Chaz Bono has nothing to do with Seattle that I know of.
Yeah. No.
Right.
It's a very unrelated leap.
Yeah. Yeah, there isn't a direct tie in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you were saying, just they need to be more aware of these things, especially in the age of social media. That maybe if it was just professional newscasters, this stuff wouldn't come up, but when literally everyone can post their opinions online, somebody's going to make a joke out of everything.
That's one of the problems, I think, is going on with at least the Democrat Party, if not the Republicans too, is that they're running their campaigns as if we're still in an era when all the news came from TV, when all of it was filtered, and when a lot of people would miss a lot of stuff because it didn't air locally, you know? And
Yeah.
they're just not realizing it's the 21st century. We have the internet, we have Facebook, and you've got to realize that everyone knows everything now, and you can't put one over on them, at least not the same way you did before.
Yeah, and I think that is a big problem with the DNC. It's like, don't you have anyone on your staff under 50?
Yeah, you'd think.
No, I don't know that. I mean, they do chronologically, but I don't know if the mindset.
Yeah, they don't seem to have anybody who gets the idea of how people in their 30s are thinking.
Yeah, yeah. And like, especially with people like Biden, where he is a stick in the mud.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's Mr. Old Man.
Yeah.
You know, and so he's thinking about all those darn kids that are on his lawn, and sure, he's not going to listen. Like, what was that speech he gave a while back where he was basically telling college students he didn't care about them?
Yeah.
Oh, I know the one. Yeah.
You know,
I don't know how he said it, but
well, I don't remember the exact wording, but it's just like, why would you say that to like one of the hugest voting blocks in the country?
Yeah. That's what I mean. That they seem to be completely clueless on how to actually get younger people out to vote. And that's what's going to carry the election.
Well, they don't even care. They don't well, at least someone like Joe Biden doesn't even want the youth vote.
Well, mistake. I mean, he's going to shoot himself in the arse with that whole attitude of his. And he's going to.
Well,
he's going to shoot everything in the
usually
arse.
Do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are going to have Germany 1933. If it's not already here, we're going to have it in just a very few weeks. And
it's getting very close to the point that I'm almost hoping for a military coup.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. And
for a while.
You know,
this one I know.
Even though I would have found that idea terrifying before, the idea of having the guys in the Pentagon running things instead is seeming more appealing.
Yes, well, I have to wonder,
absolutely.
like, what would an armed conflict against the government in this country look like? I can't even picture it.
It would be a total mess.
And the weird part is fighting the government has been like a right-wing wet dream since forever, but probably because they imagine the government they will be fighting against isn't one they agree with.
Yeah, and they also have this thing going through their heads that the conflict is going to be on the order of those Civil War reenactments.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, the government has what? Jets, tanks, rocket launchers. I mean, at some point you have to realize that fighting the government is kind of a losing proposition unless you can like take over a military base or two beforehand.
Yeah. Well, they've got the idea that's going to be fighting man to man in the streets. And it's like, you know, didn't you guys ever see the footage of Waco, Texas?
Yeah.
They'll bring a tank in, they'll just run over your ass, and it's over.
Although, you know, for some reason, I keep remembering this like, it wasn't actually the Civil War. It was, I want to say, the American Revolution. I think it might have been Johnny Tremaine. I don't recall exactly because my age was in the single digits, but I remember a lot of guerrilla warfare being part of it, where like there'd be a bunch of redcoats marching and there'd be a bunch of rebels in like, you know, sort of earth tone clothing in the bushes, assassinating them as they're marching and then running away because their muskets are only one shot. I imagine that a lot of them are picturing something like that, just with assault rifles.
Yeah, and they're not getting the idea that, okay, in this case, the redcoats are going to be wearing body armor.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know you're supposed to shoot for the body when you're trying to kill someone, but I imagine like head and knee shots aren't the worst way to go. Because let's face it, either one will grab a guy's attention and it'll probably make him be thinking a lot less about shooting back.
And the other thing, too, is what is probably more effective than killing the enemy is disabling the enemy, especially when you're dealing with a military that has some degree of, I don't know if I want to use the word compassion or whatever, somebody who will not leave their buddy behind when their buddy is down.
Well, I've actually heard about people like other sides of a conflict being attacked economically by disabling soldiers and forcing so much like medical relief to be spent on these damaged soldiers that they just run out of money taking care of them.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where that happened, but I know I've heard about it.
I can see that being a tactic.
It might have been one of the like Sun Tzu things where he says, do this, and like no one ever has.
I could actually see that being a tactic, just making it more expensive than it's worth to a better armed force.
I mean, as far as disabling the enemy, that's what punji sticks were all about.
Which of the what now?
Okay.
No. Just say the word again.
Okay, punji stick?
Punji. Never heard of it.
Punji? Okay. This was in the Victor Charlie era. The VC would dig pits with either just plain old sticks pointing down, and you're going to see why in a little while, or other devices. You would step in one of these things and you would get your leg totally mangled, and into the wound would be placed the feces that the sticks were smeared with. And that was probably more effective than the whole rocket launcher thing and everything, the whole Tet Offensive thing that the VC pulled off. In dissuading the U.S. from sticking around. I mean, okay, it did take a little while between 68 to 75 for Tet, but yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, it's certainly
what you just said, Victor Charlie, never really occurred to me. Like, I'd wondered why they called them Charlie during the Vietnam War. But I always thought it was like a Charlie Chan reference or something. Like, hey, we can't tell Asians apart, so let's just use a famous one to. I didn't know that it was, but when you said Victor Charlie, I was like, oh yeah, that's got to be it, huh?
Yeah, the military alphabet, Victor for V and Charlie for C, and it was interesting how things morphed, if you will. What the U.S. troops would call the enemy. I forget what the first one was, but then it morphed into Charlie. And then by the end of the war, it was Sir Charles.
What?
These guys, yeah. The monikers that they would use, based on Charlie. By the end of the war, it became Sir Charles as a term of respect for these guys.
I have never heard that until now.
Oh, okay.
Like, I've only ever heard people say Charlie, or much worse racial slurs.
But
yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen The Big Bang Theory, but Sheldon's mom is a redneck from Texas, and she has a lot of, let's say, blind spots when it comes to being woke. I forget exactly what it was. She made some racial slur, and Leonard was like, "You can't say that anymore. And she goes, really? I thought the one we couldn't say was ching chong. And I was like, oh, that's painful. Yeah. Of course, at one point, she also referred to Catholics as rosary rattlers. So,
that's a new one on me. Okay.
yeah. I'm still amused by Red Sea pedestrian for Jewish people.
Okay.
And
I hadn't heard that one.
And speaking as someone who's largely Ashkenazi, genetically speaking, and was raised by a Jewish mother, I can say that one, and it's okay.
Yeah, Amiga, VC for Viet Cong, and then when you use the NATO alphabet, V becomes Victor, C becomes Charlie.
Would have been interesting if they'd called them Victor instead of Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're surrounded by Victor. Victor is everywhere.
Well, that's pretty much the way it turned out.
It sounds so German, though.
Also too close to victory.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that.
There was a time, I don't know if it overlapped with NOM or not, but the NATO alphabet had victory for V rather than Victor. Because the MSB, when he would spell thing, never tell him that it was the NATO alphabet. He wouldn't have known what you were talking about. But in spelling his name, it would be, V for victory or Z for zebra, that sort of thing.
Well, I know I've mentioned before just how much it drives me nuts where phone operators can't understand my name. Like when I spell it out for them, they think it's SAHR instead of FAHR.
Yeah.
Right? And so, then I say, okay, fine, Foxtrot Alpha Hotel Romeo. And they go, so like F is in Frank? I'm like, oh, you schmuck. I just said Foxtrot Alpha Hotel Romeo, and you have to have it come at you as Frank? Fuck off.
What really gets me worked up is those who do as you were saying, they would, back when I had that other name, is that a C or a Z or is that a B or a V? So I'll fall back to Zulu Alpha Victor Alpha Romeo Tango Kilo Alpha Yankee, and before I'm finished with it, they're none of that. Just tell your name. That's what I was doing, and you weren't getting it, asshole.
Well, also part of it is you do go a little fast when you say that, and if someone doesn't know the military alphabet, they might be like, slow down, let me get this.
Well, usually a first timer, I will slow it down a little bit. It was just, I think most of you anyway.
Well, yeah, but I could not have followed what you just said. I would have needed a pause between each word.
Move beef. I know with reciting numbers, I'll do it quite slowly.
Well, but numbers are so much easier than the NATO alphabet.
They screw that up too. Oh boy, do they ever!
I mean, it did always kind of bother me a little when they'd say niner. I mean, I know why, but it just sounded so odd to me.
That's pretty much the only way I know how to say it anymore.
Really?
I mean, it always comes out that way anyway. I mean, one of my phone numbers, 789 or 1.
Although, the one that drives me up the wall is when there's a computer font that uses like almost exactly the same character for a capital O and a 0. And I'm trying to read a serial number.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know what the hell I'm looking at.
Well, that's why, part of the standard for automobile VIN numbers is there will never be a letter O. It's always a 0.
Mm-hmm.
I was not aware of that.
Yep. Yeah, when they made the standard, they completely removed the letter. There's about 3 letters that they don't use. I can't remember what the other ones are.
And that refers, weren't we talking about redundant acronyms on another show?
Nested.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant our conversation on Twitter. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
The other ones
on
is
one of the shows. Yeah.
there's no J because on a worn sticker, they were afraid a J would get confused with an I.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Now, okay. Sometimes there's difficulty differentiating between, say, a 1, a T, and a 7 because of how serif or sans serif the font happens to be.
Yeah.
But you know what drives me up the frickin' wall is putting a line through the middle of the 7.
I knew you were going to say that.
And I've also seen it on a Z as well, and that drives me up the wall. I'm just like, no. I'd rather see serifs than that line.
That's to distinguish the Z or the Z, however you want to say it, from a 2.
Yeah, but regardless of the motivation, I don't like it. It looks ugly.
And I wish that there were a way like that to differentiate 6s and capital G's.
Connect up the little loopy bit so that it's clearly not a G. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be written.
Yeah,
where the G does not connect.
Again, just different people's handwriting, though. You can make it.
That's the whole bit with my handwriting. I really have to be careful, or I really have to work to differentiate the G's and the 6s.
I've never had that problem. Besides, I actually always put the little sort of like whatever you want to call it, the table, the shelf, the serif on the end of the G. So there's no way you're mixing it up with a 6.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know.
And in the side chat, what's it? Midleaf Romantic? I'm having trouble reading that. Says the line through the 7's a British thing.
Midi life, I'm assuming.
A European thing.
Or, no, there's no I there. Okay, midlife, midlife manic. That's what that says. Midlife manic.
Yeah, it's a generally European thing because my babka did that, and I learned to do the strike through the 7s, and I'm in single digits, but that's just the way.
Oh, your age. Okay.
Yeah, that's just the way you wrote a 7.
Wow.
Or a Z. Yeah.
I think it's extraordinarily ugly. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's something about it. I think I don't like it for much the same reason I don't like buttons. It like interrupts a smooth line, I think, is the problem. You know, like the smooth line of the seam in the front of a shirt is just messed up by these extra little points that don't belong there, much the way that strike through on a 7 or a Z or whatever just doesn't belong there. There was a line. It didn't need to be sliced in half.
Okay, then. Okay.
I don't know. It's just, I think it's much the same reason I prefer even numbers to odd, I think.
Actually, I had read that the buttons, the line of buttons down the sleeve on military uniforms is actually specifically because of that, of breaking it so it's not smooth.
That's not what I heard. I heard it's there so they don't wipe their nose on their sleeves.
Yeah, that's what I had heard, that Catherine the Great wanted the buttons on there so that the soldiers weren't wiping their nose on it.
Yep.
So she didn't want it to be a smooth sleeve.
Oh, well, okay. See, when I say smooth, that's not entirely what I mean, but okay. Like, I take your meaning.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Oh, Purple, you had mentioned 1 and lowercase I. Now, this is interesting. I don't know if anybody else remembers this or not, but I remember when I was learning to type, that you typed a 1 with a lowercase l, because they were represented the same way on other typefaces or whatever you want. So that's the way the typewriter
Well, that's
was
I
done.
remember that on the old manual typewriters, that it was to save production cost. They actually did not have a number 1 or 0.
Right.
They used the lowercase l and the o.
That's also like one of the reasons we don't spell words like color and honor with a U was production cost. It just costs less ink to print things that way.
That makes sense. That's also why the Roman Times is the standard newsprint, because it takes less ink than other typefaces.
I would have thought like something like Arial would have been the way to go. Xander, get off the desk. You're not allowed on the desk. You know that. Gosh, brazen little shit. I mean, like right in front of me. But anyway, yeah. I love the whole story about why keyboards are laid out the way they are, just because people were typing too fast and jamming up the typewriters. But at this point, I type so quickly with the keyboard in its configuration that it would not have helped back in the day. But as I understand, the keyboard started out in alphabetical order.
Yeah,
I remember that being the case. Yeah.
Well, and you can still see remnants of it down the center. GHJKL.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's funny because, man, when I first started using computers and I couldn't type for shit and I was using the hunt and peck method, oh, boy.
Yep.
I do fairly decently at hunt and peck. I mean, it's not 100 words a minute or anything, but...
Wow.
I actually ran into that when I got a new cell phone, because the default that it had for like the notepad and that went and put the letters back in alphabetical order. And I had to get a different app that put them back in the order of the keyboard, because when they're in alphabetical order, I can't find the letters anymore.
Yeah. It's funny, the whole like drunk test where, you were driving erratically, they pull you over and they're like, okay, recite the alphabet backward. And I'm like, drunk or sober, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can't.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that is just, well, I got a quota, so start.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like seriously, the idea of police quotas shouldn't be a thing. Like, yes, I realize we need to curtail redundancies. So if there's cops sitting out there and they're not like writing tickets for anybody, I understand people might lose their jobs. But like, maybe you should have the quotas being such that no one's told about them, so that they're not pulling people over frivolously.
Well, and they don't really need the quotas anymore. I can understand that. At one time, how many tickets they wrote were the only way you could tell if cops were doing things. But basically, since their cars are tracked where they are at all moments, and they have to call in every time they make a stop, they can tell how many traffic stops the cops are making, regardless of how many tickets they write.
Well, sure, but even if there's like a hidden quota, people are going to be like, I have to do a lot of my job to make sure I don't get fired.
Well, and even places where there isn't specifically a quota, they know that the guys who write more tickets are more likely to get the next promotion.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, I've never had to do the drunk test. In fact, I've gotten exactly one ticket in my entire life. And I was like a fairly young teenager when it happened. But, like the whole drunk test thing is such bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is.
Yeah.
Even and I'm saying that as someone who's never been hit by it, it's still bullshit.
Well, and I don't think it's specifically the test itself. It's just the idea of getting the person out of the car, seeing if they can stand up and walk so that the cop can make their own assessment.
Well, whether it is or not. And hell, like what assessment is a cop going to make? Okay, you were driving like shit, but you're not drunk. Maybe that's a bigger problem.
Well,
that too.
And they can give them a ticket for something else then.
But I mean, if you're driving like crapola sober, maybe you shouldn't be driving.
Well, personally, I think that we should make the driver's test a lot harder so most people can't get a license, and then they'd be forced to actually make mass transit something usable.
Now, I mean, I would not want to have to do this, but it might make sense to make people test every couple of years, like take the test again.
Oh, I would endorse that too.
The idea that you can get your license and that's it forever, well, skills are going to start to fail. Just a smidge. Also, I think there should be extraordinarily harsh penalties for pulling into the crosswalk.
Oh, my word.
I don't care if you want to make a right on red. You stay the fuck out of my crosswalk.
Oh, my.
In fact, that's worse if you want to make a right on red, because the people doing it are only looking at the oncoming traffic for an opportunity. They're not checking for pedestrians coming from the other direction at all. The number of times I've almost been run over because someone was like, "Ooh, an opening," and they'd like gun it without checking for pedestrians. I kind of want those people dead.
And then, of course, there are the people who crawl ahead such that they are in the middle of the intersection when the light goes against them. And I think they still do have it. Last time I was there, they had it. New York has extreme penalties for doing that. They call it blocking the box.
Well,
you can get hit with a hell of a fine for doing that.
Another thing is the people who don't come to a complete stop at a stop sign when there's someone in the crosswalk, where their whole attitude seems to be, look, hustle. Okay, I got places to be. I'm in the car. I'm going to keep slowly inching forward to give you incentive to walk faster. Those people, seriously, they don't just need to be executed. They need to be executed slowly. I wonder how many people in the side chat are realizing, oh my gosh, I'm hearing me when you describe that person.
And I don't know where the name came from, but if I remember correctly, that whole thing about creeping ahead, how did that come to be called a California roll?
Well, they do it a lot in California, but when I think of a California roll, I think of sushi.
Okay.
Well, a California roll is, I haven't had one in a very long time, mostly because it contains a shit ton of ginger. And that was one of the things I wasn't allowed to have. I should seek out a good California roll because, damn it, I love those things. It's like ginger and crab legs and rice and nori paper.
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
No, I was done.
I was just responding in the side chat to Hans that, in the US, there is no maximum age for driving. And, I would support what Kate was saying, that people should have to retest at least every 10 years.
Something like that.
Yeah, because, here, once you get your license, unless you do something stupid like driving drunk too many times, you've got it for life.
I was picturing something a little more draconian than every 10 years. I was thinking 5 or 3, but
I'd even go with 5. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I hate the DMV and I wouldn't want to subject other people to it. So I don't think, I think legislation to that effect would be a complete non-starter. You'd see a total rebellion against it, but it still sounds like a good idea.
Well, you'd see a rebellion against it, but at the same time, it would increase revenues for the states. So you've got somebody interested in pushing it.
Yeah, but let's put it this way. Unless you're already in office, chances are good you can't run on that platform. And if you do it while you're in office, there's a very good chance you won't get a second term. Because like I say, people are going to rebel.
And then there is the father of a friend of mine who was driving with cataracts. Yeah, nobody wanted to be in the car with him.
It's kind of like that old joke, isn't it? When I die, I want to go peacefully in my sleep like my grandfather, not screaming in terror like the people in his car.
Yeah. Pretty much, yes.
Sorry, go on. I'm done.
He finally had something done about the cataracts, but the fact was that he couldn't see to drive while he was driving. And I don't know if you want to do that,
Yeah. Well, you know what's a lot of fun is being in, like, say, New England in the middle of winter when you're driving at night and it's snowing. I mean, okay, granted, if you turn on the high beams, it looks like you're going through hyperspace, but you still can't see shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although it still is fun to turn on the high beams and pretend you're going through hyperspace.
Oh, yeah, I've driven through that many times.
Yeah.
I mean, that's happened to me a couple of times here, and God's, I was terrified. Because not only was it at night in the middle of winter with ice on the roads and everything, and blizzard conditions, but it was on steep hills. Yeah, it just not the sort of thing I was wanting to do.
Well, I was used to doing it
uphill both ways, weren't they?
Yes.
I was used to doing it in Upper Michigan, where if there's a car coming the other way, that's got headlights. But if there's a deer standing in the road, you don't see anything but a blurry outline just before the smack.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, it's funny, you'd think in Vermont we would have encountered deer on the road a hell of a lot more than we did.
Where I was living in northern Michigan, driving out to my mom's, I saw more deer than I did other cars.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. There are some like deer crossing signs in places I never would have suspected they'd be. Like, just a few miles outside of Seattle, for example. And we're not even talking rural areas here. We're talking the burbs have deer crossing signs.
Yeah, I see that here as well. Within certain neighborhoods of Pittsburgh, there are the deer crossing signs, and they are there for a good reason.
Oh, and you see them on a couple of streets in the city of St. Paul.
Well, here in San Diego, I wouldn't have thought this would be a thing in a city, but a couple of months ago, someone managed to nail a skunk.
Oh, fun.
Really? In the middle of a city, we got skunk kill.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly would not have thought that was possible. Like, where are these skunks coming from? I've seen rabbits, I've seen bunnies, but they were still way out on the bike path trail.
No, skunks and raccoons are very well adapted to living in the city and living off of human garbage.
Well, but even so, like this isn't even the suburbs. This is urban.
Yeah.
I just and I could almost see the trash pandas, but skunks,
Most people don't see them because they only come out at night, but they're there.
Wow.
And then here in my backyard, we have the deers. Not only do I see them across 30, but they're going through the little lawn in between the two buildings and everything else. And this isn't exactly rural. You don't even want to call it suburban, actually. And yeah, you get those guys. Well, you've seen the map view, Kate, of the road here. That's where we have the deers walking. I've seen Bambi splayed on 30, laying there for quite a while before somebody took him away. It's like, oh, okay. Intestines all over the highway.
Okay, like you say, I've seen imagery of the place where you live, and you were just saying, like, you couldn't call it the burbs, you couldn't call it urban or rural. Honestly, from what I saw, the first thing that pops into my head is wrong side of the tracks.
Okay.
That's what pops into my head is that's the low rent district right there.
What this was at one
time. That is the land of strip malls, and not good ones either.
Well, the whole point with that is it did become that, and the reason was at one time this was the highway, if you will. When you did not have the interstate highways or anything. You had the little mom and pop motels all along the U.S. highway system. You had the stores and stuff and everything. And this is the remnant of that.
The motor lodges and Jiffy Lubes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And motor lodge is such a funny term. But like the funny thing is, when Vermont is not rural and not what's the like middle point between urban and suburban? Because we got that. It's like not a city. It's too small to be a city, but it kind of looks like a city. You know what I mean? But like when it's not that, and when it's not rural, the entirety of the state is the wrong side of the tracks.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I actually lived on the wrong side of the tracks, the neighborhood I was in before I came here. I think I talked about it a week or two ago. There was a railroad bridge that went through, it was on the border between one of the better off neighborhoods and then where I lived. And like that, you saw the change when you went under that railroad bridge. It was from, pretty nice garden neighborhoods to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to describe certain kinds of civilization. Like, I guess, see, that's the thing. I'm trying to figure out how to describe Burlington, Vermont, because like I say, it's not a city, but it's not a town, and it's not the burbs, and it's not rural. It's like a big, small town. It's a small town that got too big for its britches.
Moo. Okay.
Yeah. Although I think Seattle might be headed for a fall soon. Because when you've got that area of a town that's weird, that it's the eclectic part of town, it's the coffee shops and the sort of stores that sell like the kind of items that would appeal to counterculture and all of that. And then
is that dying? Is that dying?
It is. It's starting to be like it's gone from the indie coffee shops to the Starbuckses, and it's like that for every other kind of store and every other kind of restaurant, because how there's that chase around town where you've got the rich people that want to be part of. Oh hell, who is this? I'm gonna have to get that later, whoever it is. But like you've got the trendy part of town, and all of the rich motherfuckers want to be part of it, and so they start like crowding into it, and as they start crowding into it, business comes with them. And so it's like this chase around town of the indie people going, yeah, we don't want you in our part of town because you always fuck it up. We're going to a different part of town. And then the hipsters, the rich hipsters go, oh, they're not here anymore. I wonder why. Well, let's go to the part of town where they were. And then again, the chase is on. And Seattle is starting to become nothing but the rich-ass hipsters who want to be part of the counterculture. And it's getting to where you can't be in Seattle anymore without it being gentrified. I think Seattle's headed for a fall, because eventually there will be nowhere for counterculture to go.
Yeah. Well, that's what you see all over the country, is it's the counterculture people who wind up in the low rent neighborhoods and wind up improving it to the point where it becomes a good investment. And then it's all the, people who have the money to invest in things wind up taking it over to the point that the people who rebuilt the neighborhood can't afford to live there anymore.
Yep. Well, that's what happened. And wouldn't want to if they could.
Yeah. I've seen the same thing happen to Minneapolis in several neighborhoods.
Oh, hell, it's happened to my old neighborhood, but like not even the whole town, just my neighborhood in Vermont. Like I've mentioned it before, started out as sort of a rednecky beach community, and now it's wall-to-wall yuppies.
Yep.
And not the
Oh,
good
that's
yuppies either, like the bajillionaires from some other state have realized, I want a Vermont beach house. And the next thing you know, the neighborhood is nothing but $1 million homes.
yeah. Well, that's what happened to me. The reason that we had to move from the neighborhood where I used to live was that a developer had snapped all of it up and was sitting on it, waiting for it to be gentrified, waiting for the developers to become interested enough to buy it. And it took a little longer than they expected. Meanwhile, they were letting the buildings there go to shit while they rented them out and put no money back into them. And HUD finally said, okay, we're pulling the subsidies, and we couldn't afford to stay there and we had to leave. And as you said, the whole thing with the whole gentrification thing is, where do we live? Now, they don't care,
Mm-hmm.
but the question is valid. Where do we get to live?
Well, that's the thing. You don't. You know, I mean, the people who want to be part of counterculture, who aren't already, who want to be part of the indie culture, they're going to keep pursuing people in order to be included in what they see as cool. And the people who actually are cool are going to say, fuck off. And it's just this never ending chase.
Yeah,
And the thing you were talking about with the people sitting on property like that's happening in Burlington, Vermont. Like some dude wanted to have this 18-story office building in the middle of the downtown area and took out like half of the Burlington Square Mall to do it, but it failed. And so now he's just sort of sitting on the property doing nothing with it. Also, I really can't stand the word developers just because it was a meme like a bunch of decades ago where there was some like tech dude, I don't know, Microsoft or Apple, total fat ass who spent the whole like presentation going developers, 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 to the point where it eventually got turned into a literal techno song where someone sampled him saying developers like that and just put like, oons, 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 developers, 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 oons, 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 like that. So every time someone says developers, that pops into my head and now I can't stand the word.
Okay, if that's a song, I can see it being made into a music video with just clips from old Scooby-Doo shows.
Okay.
Okay, you lost me.
Well, half of the Scooby-Doo mysteries were actually about just some rich guy wanting to, make a killing off of selling land.
Sorry, I thought, well, because the guy who was giving the speech with the song was talking about computer companies. Right.
Okay.
So the context was a little off.
Right.
But,
okay. Yeah, I was still on land developers.
Yeah.
No. Developer is really the wrong term to apply to what these people do, at least now it is, and very probably was back then. To my mind, develop carries the connotation of improve. And what these people are doing is not improving.
Well, they think it is.
Well, sure, it's improving their income.
Well, they even think it's improving the area. They look at the buildings they put in and go, yes, this is what we intended. It's just the other people didn't really want what they intended.
Yeah, especially the people who don't get to live there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the people who do this whole gentrification crap and everything else, and the people they wanted to attract to live there can't afford it.
Well, even if they
overprice
it or not, those people don't want to live in places like that. Okay. I mean, that's the thing is a lot of the people who are like, yeah, I wanted to live here, like, but then it changed. And they're like, well, now I don't want to live here because the culture isn't what I came here for. I came here for something specific and you guys removed it in the name of being part of it. I mean, a lot of that is like, even if people could afford to live there, they're like, but you took away the reasons that I wanted to live there.
Well, and on a related note, I see that as being one of the worst long-term effects of the COVID thing. Is it's going to wind up killing a lot of like family-owned businesses, but the corporations are going to weather it okay.
Well, but the only reason the
really
corporations are weathering it okay is because they're being subsidized by the government.
Yeah. Bingo, just where I was headed.
Yeah, but I mean, all the Starbucks are going to make it through, but all the mom and pop coffee shops, they can't afford to be closed for a couple of months during a lockdown.
Well, yes and no. I mean, like my favorite coffee shop where I would have my game nights, they're surviving it largely by saying, okay, sure, you can't come in and get a coffee, or at least you can't sit down and have one, but you can still come in and get one to go, and it's probably hot enough to kill the virus.
Yeah.
But even so, they're also selling beans. You can go into the coffee shop and just buy your favorite blend and bring it home, which is what I've started doing. I've started buying from Lestat's rather than buying like the instant stuff I have been getting. And because now I have a French press, I can prepare it properly.
Okay. Yeah. You know, and that's, some of them are managing to adapt somewhat, but
yeah.
I
mean, most places are doing the table in front of the front door. You order while you're still outside stuff.
Yep.
I do have to wonder though, and okay, I realize that we've got some conspiracy theory stuff going on over here, and then shut me up, and everything will be fine. But I wonder if part of the reason you don't have all this fucking up is in order to strangle the smaller businesses in favor of corporate. No, okay.
I think that's more a side effect because, you know, even the corporate stores, they don't like the idea of a decreased traffic to their stores.
Okay.
Well, I mean, but again, the small businesses weren't part of that. What was it? $5 trillion they gave out?
Yeah. So, right.
Yeah. You know, and of course, they made sure that the corporations were fed long before they even thought about the people.
Yeah.
You know, and like how many of us still haven't gotten that check? I'm looking at you, Mom NATO. But even those of us who have, well, it ran out a long ass time ago now, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for most people, that was just enough to get them through 1 month.
Yep. We need actual UBI, damn it. If we had actual UBI, you know what? Granted, I know some people would not think of this as a benefit while others would. I would have stopped making atheism videos and went animation only a long ass time ago if we had UBI.
Okay, then.
I miss animating. And like, granted, I am animating a lot now for Quinn Redshift, but I want to do shorter projects like making my Head Meets comics into cartoons rather than comics and seeing where that takes me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because animation, especially humor animation, is big on YouTube. It could turn into the cash cow that atheism never was. Now, granted, I didn't get into atheism expecting to make money, but it is my career right now, and honestly, my enthusiasm is flagging. It's why I've only made one video this month. I kind of want out.
Well, I understand what you mean. Like you say, there aren't any new arguments, so you're just kind of rehashing the same stuff over and over.
Well, but I've been doing that for a very long time. And as I've mentioned, I see my atheism video making as activism far more than I see it as anything else. And so the reason why I was happily debunking the same arguments over and over is because they never shut up.
Right.
But so if we do, after we've quote unquote said everything, it's not going to go for us because they're still the only voice in the room.
No, and I'm not saying you should stop. I'm just saying I can.
No, but see, that's the thing. That's why I kept going for so long, for as long as I have. It's just that now I feel like it's not that I've said everything. It's that I feel like I've done my part and I'm having kind of a career crisis, I guess, where there's my passion and then there's my duty. And I'm seeing atheism as duty rather than passion. And I want to pursue my passion again. And kind of like military people who go, well, I put in my 20, it's time to retire. Kind of feel like I'm there with the atheism thing. You know, I've done my part. It's time to hand off the reins to someone else, to someone newer to the task, who is still fresh faced and full of energy like I was when I started. Now I want to be full of energy about animation. Damn it. It's my turn. It's my time. I don't know.
Well, I can see that definitely. I mean, I've been in this nowhere near as long as you have, and I get frustrated. I mean, it's only 2 years for me, and so if it happens after 2 years, what must it be like after 12, or what is it, 14 or?
Well, that's the thing, is I don't know the exact numbers anymore. A bunch of videos got accidentally deleted and this, that, and the other thing. And now I honestly don't know. Like it's been no less than 11 years. I know that much, but it's probably closer to 12 at this point.
Okay, then, yeah. And part of the problem I have anyway is it's always the same people doing the same sort of thing, and it's like, do I have to do this again? And then there are the other people who make no coherent point, but are still obnoxious at doing it. What do you do to respond? What?
Well, one of the things I often wonder is about, say, for example, more stand-up comedians than people in plays or whatever, but they undoubtedly repeat the same routine over and over and over until they write new material. And I have to wonder what that's like, because when we are watching it, it looks fresh, but they've rehearsed this time and time and time again. And so,
well, that's the whole point.
I'm sure it's similar to having made the same arguments over and over and over again. After a while, much as it's my catchphrase to not run on automatic, after a while, it gets easy to just run on automatic and give the same refutation, the same rebuttal constantly. It's probably one of the reasons why my delivery is as polished as it is, because I've done it so many damn times.
Well, there you go. But then the other thing with the stand-up comedian, for example, Carlin, when he would tour some of the material, when he would tour anything he had written, really, it was a different venue almost every time. He might do 2 shows somewhere, but he didn't do 90 shows in the same damn place for the same damn people, which unfortunately is the sort of thing the YouTube atheist would more or less do.
Well, that's
just the nature of the beast.
Kind of a non-factor in my particular case. It's got nothing to do with venue. It doesn't even have anything to do with the audience. It's just a matter of, I mean, like I say, I see it as activism, so I have to repeat myself a lot, but it gets boring after a while. Just saying the same things over and over. I'm sure I've lost a lot of subscribers just because people are like, oh, this again? But
oh yeah, sure, definitely.
I mean, because I don't know anybody who has stuck with me since year one. I'm sure there might be someone, but I don't know any of them off the top of my head. But I know a lot of people who've said, look, I'm sorry, I have to unsubscribe. It's nothing to do with you. It's just, it's same thing over and over again, and I'm done with it. And I've known creators who've quit because of that. And, or if not quit, at least change topics. And honestly, they got boring after that. But, like there've been a number of people who've said, look, I just wanted to document my, my leaving theism, and I did that, and now I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
I've seen a lot of that, of channels that were only active for about a year or so and just gathering dust now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was going through my subscription list going, wow, I haven't seen anything from you in I don't know how long. So, yeah. Like, do you remember Coctopus Prime?
Yes, I do.
And maybe Coughlin is still making stuff under a different name, but you remember Richard Coughlin?
Yep.
It's like a lot of these channels seem to be kind of on the dead side now. It's a shame, really.
Yeah, I guess you can do Pratt's only so often.
Yeah, there are quite a few channels that I know that I watched like 2 years ago that haven't put out anything new, and I just kind of wonder what happened to them.
And like I remember, Non-Stamp Collector told us he was back, and then no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he is still on Twitter.
Yeah, but he meant video making.
Yeah. I was excited about that too. I thought he'd be putting out at least one video a month again.
Yeah. Oh well. And to be honest, I don't really have the energy to do what it takes for some of the more successful channels where they put out like a video every day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
But the truth is that when I'm done making a video, I feel so worn out, like I just ran a marathon and I just want it to be over.
Well, and the ones that wind up putting out a video a day, that becomes something they have to do, I see the quality drops pretty quickly at that point.
Yeah.
Because it's like, then they're just trying to find enough topics.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I don't know.
Find enough topics you haven't covered a million times already.
Yeah, I don't see any of those channels as really being sustainable long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how long it will take me to take one of those comic strips and make it into a full-fledged animation instead. And it probably doesn't help that one or two of the ones I really want to do will involve special effects. But like I imagine I could probably churn out more than one a week if I had to. I'm just saying. And I mean that could lead to some decent viewership and some decent revenue. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I could see if you were, even doing like 2 a week on a regular basis, that, I think that could keep an audience engaged.
Yeah. Yeah. And given that I've already made like, what was it, 36, 39, something like that of those comics, doing 2 of those a week will last me quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
So now.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to get going. It's almost 1:30 here, and I have to go get some supplies, so things are only open for a couple hours yet. Being Sunday, everything's going to close at 5.
Really?
Oh, man.
Well, 5 or 6 for most of it.
Still. I mean, here at least, most places are open well into the night.
No, we've only gotten to the point of even Walmart's only been open till 10 o'clock for the last couple of weeks.
Is this one of those, like, we have ancient religious things we still follow just out of habit?
No, this is the COVID thing. Because there used to be a lot of grocery stores and that were open 24 hours.
I see.
Yeah, so, normally there would be stuff open, until 8 or 10 at night, even on a Sunday. But with the COVID, everybody's running short hours.
Well, I do remember the blue laws, though.
I was just about to say blue laws. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was a big thing where I lived up in Michigan.
Yeah, but it's such a relic of a bygone time.
Although actually,
make me feel old. Why don't you?
Yeah. It's actually only been about 4 or 5 years that's been legal for liquor stores to be open in Minnesota on Sunday.
But even so, like you just said, without the pandemic, things would still be open till what, 9 or 10? Did you say?
Well, yeah, for Sunday for a lot of the stuff.
Because here on a Sunday, things are still open like past midnight. And that's mostly supermarkets. But even if it wasn't a supermarket, they're still going to be open like close to midnight.
Well, that's what I mean, like the supermarkets were open 24 hours and, like Target and that were open later. But, any of the more specialty stores.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough.
Well, the sort of thing you were talking about there, Purple, over here, it's disturbingly recently that you could buy a bottle of wine or a 6-pack of beer in a grocery store here. And talk about holding on to the old religious shit. Pennsylvania was perfect for it.
Well, and in Minnesota, that somehow happened in the 10 years that I was gone between New York and Michigan, that when I had lived here, well, I lived here up until 2008. And at that time, the grocery stores could only do beer or wine. You know, and now that I came back here sometime in between, there are now, like, the grocery stores and even Target have full liquor stores in them.
Yeah, we've got that here. We've got like 3 or 4 aisles of nothing but different kinds of booze. Hell, you could probably get sake if you wanted it.
Yeah, but I guess the part of that really hit me is the idea that I can buy whiskey at Target. Somehow that seems weird to me.
Does it? Mind you, I don't usually go into Target, but still. I mean, I have. It's not like Walmart or Costco, but it's just still rare.
Yeah, well, Walmart, Target, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I was floored.
I always pictured Walmart as probably, well, I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm thinking more of Costco. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was floored the first time I went to Illinois, where you could actually get a bottle of bourbon just about anywhere. They did not have specialized liquor stores the way Ohio did. Still does. The way West Virginia did, still does. It was, to see whiskey on the shelves at a drugstore. It was like, okay.
There are certain tropes that are common, that are just part of the cultural zeitgeist that honestly, if they ever happened in real life, I've managed to miss them. Like, for example, people drinking booze out of a paper bag, where the bottle is hidden kind of thing. I've also never seen a jug with 3 X's on it. But these are things that are so just pervasive in the cultural zeitgeist, and yet I've never seen one in real life.
Well, the MSB used to drink his can of beer out of the paper bag while he was driving. And of course, he was doing it out of the paper bag because he was driving at the time. And he had that little regard for anything like that, where it says, "No, I want my beer. I'm going to drink goddamn beer." And
it's funny, like people know they're doing the wrong thing, and yet they do it anyway. But they find a way to justify their skirting the law in some fashion. It's so strange to me. It's kind of like I heard a story about someone who was like recently in a store, and they watched someone else pull down their mask specifically to sneeze. Like the whole idea is I can't sneeze inside my mask. I have to sneeze so it doesn't get in my mask, and it's just like, wow, you kind of violated the spirit of the law and probably the letter, but still
and a belated bye-bye to Purple, by the way.
Took it off, did he?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not actually looking at the window right now because honestly, no one's doing anything interesting. We're just sitting there, It's not like anyone's dancing a jig. Or if you are, you're doing it very quietly.
Oh my, this is interesting here. Just alcohol laws of Pennsylvania. I'm just looking at the license types.
It's weird. Like right now, I kind of want booze, except I totally don't. Like I want it in principle, but the thought of having the experience of getting drunk just sounds like something I don't want to do.
Oh man, I got over that a long time ago. I don't like being drunk.
I used to enjoy it. I don't anymore.
Yeah, there's that whole upset stomach, feeling ill type thing that comes along with being drunk, among other things. That this doesn't appeal to me.
See, you're probably getting more drunk than I usually do, because I never really had that queasy feeling unless I way overdid it.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've told you about the night of the 7 shots of Everclear, but like that's not how I would usually get drunk. Like I would go to the Mercury from 9 until usually around midnight, maybe a little later, and I would have 2 doubles or possibly just 2 single talls. But that would be it for the night, and I would never get much more than kind of buzzed.
Okay.
Well, okay, substantially buzzed, but still not full on drunk.
When I was younger, I was an expert at getting full on drunk. I turned it into an art form.
I mean, it's not like I never got faced. I did. It was usually at parties rather than the club, which led to some quite horrible one night stands. But regardless, it was just like not my thing. I wanted a minor escape. That's all I wanted. Go out, hang with friends, get a little schnockered, but not completely faced. And yeah, social drinking.
Okay.
Like far less than those guys who would go to high-powered business meetings and like have some booze with it.
Okay, moo. Definite
You know
moo.
what I'm talking about, right? Those guys
Oh, yeah.
where it's like, yeah, we're sitting around a conference table. Hey, who wants a little bit of whatever the hell it was they drink? Probably whiskey, but I don't know.
If I have it correct, what you're talking about and everything else, it reminds me of the old 3 martini lunch.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Martinis are so weird. I mean, it's like, okay, we're going to pour mostly gin or vodka into a glass, add maybe a tiny bit of something, and here you go. Here's your drink. I think it was like vermouth or something they would add. I don't remember exactly. But whatever it was just like I'm looking. I'm going. This is a whole drink, really? You might as well just have a glass of whatever the main booze ingredient was.
Yeah, the classic martini was gin and vermouth.
Yes.
A dry martini had the dry vermouth, and then you also had the sweet martini with the sweet vermouth. The way I would pour a martini, and this was when I was about 13 or so, was pour a little bit of the vermouth into a glass. Didn't have the martini glasses at that time. Swirl it around a little bit, pour it back into the bottle. Whatever clung to the side of the glass was what stayed there, and then you poured the gin in there, and there you go.
Now you say 13. Were you making these for yourself, or did you have relatives going, "Hey, kiddo, make me one of these," and like you get the booze for grandpa?
No, I made them for myself. I would go down to the rack of various bottles of booze that he had in the basement and the whole bed, and he'd pour from there. And he
schnockered at 13.
Well, I wasn't getting totally schnockered at that point. I was simply imbibing, shall we say.
Okay, because you realize I didn't have my first drink till I was 25.
I think I remember you saying that at one point. Yeah, it's like, no, I was getting sips of his beer when I was 3 years old.
Oh, well, I had a sip of beer. I never had more.
Okay.
Hey, Dad, can I try the beer? Ew, that's gross. Never again. That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's, when I'm what, 3 or 4 years old when I discovered that I liked Stroh's. The Stroh's of that era anyway. And I liked it because it was bitter.
Yeah.
So that dates way back my like and love of bitter things. But I was pretty good at mixing a drink, when I was in my early teens. And
well, see, that's not the part that's still boggling me.
Okay.
It's just the 13.
Yeah, I mean the booze was all over the place. So
but
why
that's
not?
Still knocking me out. 13. I wouldn't even considered it at 13.
Oh, okay.
That's just way the hell too young.
I guess part of it was because it was all around me. I mean, he owned a booze store, so it was just a part of my life.
But it's still too young, 13.
Well, you're probably right with that. You're very most likely right. But yeah, I'm doing this stuff when I'm that age, and I mean, by the
Still, it
time
explains a lot. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, by the time I'm at uni, I'm pretty good at getting drunk, and I was early to uni. Uh, I started my freshman year. I had just turned 17. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I turned 17 in July and freshman year in August.
Oof. I should not be tired. I had decent amounts of caffeine this morning. I should not be tired.
Oh my, 3 or 4 glasses of wine, 3 screwdrivers, and passed out. Wine was something you didn't see around the so-called family. They didn't do wine. Wine didn't grow hair on your chest.
Mm.
Even the girls.
That does not
Yeah,
sound like a benefit to me.
yeah, it was highballs all the way. Cheap Canadian whiskey with either ginger ale or 7 Up.
And I just like my rum, damn it. But okay, like I wonder, does sweet beer exist?
Yes.
I wonder, like, because I'm curious now. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a good hard lemonade from time to time.
Okay, fine.
But I mean, that's not really sweet beer now, is it?
No, definitely not. No. There is a Belgian beer I actually liked when I tried it that can be described as sweet. Um, I think wheat beers are sweeter than barley beers, if I remember correctly. Um, Somebody correct me if I was wrong about that. But and then of course a porter. Oh my word, that can be very sweet.
Well, I'm looking at a list of sweet beers. And granted, like, drinking a light beer sounds kind of silly, but there is a Bud Light Lime and a Bud Light Orange. If I can find those, I might try them.
Oh, okay.
It says here, like, it describes Bud Light Lime as an alcoholic candy flavored club soda.
Oh my.
And like I said, now I don't know if these are still manufactured because it says things like 2008, you know? But there's
Okay,
also, let's see,
then.
something here called Dundee Original Honey Brown. Now, I don't know how much honey is involved, but I do like mead. So let's see here. Doesn't actually say what it is. I don't know. But there's one that sounds interesting. Samuel Smith's Organic Chocolate Stout.
Oh yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
I may have to try at least if I can find the Bud Light Lime and Orange. I may have to try them. The only problem, really, is that my supermarket tends to not sell singletons. Like you have to buy a 6-pack of a drink. Have to. No option.
Okay.
So if it turns
Yeah.
out I don't like these, well.
Well, around here, yoy, there was a time when you wanted a singleton or a 6-pack, you had to go to a bar. All you could get in the beer stores were cases. So you don't go to a beer store to try something because you didn't want to spend, $30 or whatever the hell it was to try something you might not like.
So if I'm reading this correctly, it does look like Bud Light Lime is still available. And it looks like it's kind of on the cheap. I mean, I'm seeing here, let's see, a 12-pack for $14.
Okay, just a little bit more than $1 each. Okay.
which to my mind is kind of cheap, especially since these are not cans. These are bottles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 12 fluid ounces. That's what it says. I'm also seeing Bud Light Seltzer Lemon Lime, but I can't imagine that would appeal to me.
Moo.
Where the hell is Bevmo? It's like I'm looking at places near me, and it says Bevmo, whatever the frell that is.
Okay.
Let's see. That would be. Oh wow, way the hell downtown. That is not. That is not an easy walk. It's a 10-minute drive.
Okay.
For fuck's sake. Okay, I'm so sick to death of my fucking phone. There's this, like, the Samsung equivalent of Alexa or Siri is called Bixby, and it tends to activate itself when I don't want it to.
Yee.
Ugh. Let's try it. Okay, Bixby, turn yourself off. Oh, for now, I'm not able to do that. I'll keep learning to make your experience better. Fuck off. Ugh.
I'm sorry, I can't do that, Dave.
Yeah, well, still. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. How the hell do I disable this fucking thing?
With a hammer?
Yeah, no. Never. There we go. Automatic listening off. Maybe that'll help. Voice wake up off. There we go. Because there's a weird number of words that, when combined together, will make the sound Bixby, but aren't actually Bixby. And I've had my phone activate itself because I've said these words.
Okay, then.
It's like, okay, there was a video game I had a long ass time ago, and it was a really shitty video game, but part of it was that a captain's log had been recorded accidentally because the main character had said, let's put another log on the fire. And the automatic log on and starts recording everything everyone's saying from that moment on. That was like a major plot point of the video game.
Okay, then.
Yeah. So that's basically what this stupid piece of shit Bixby thing has been doing, is it hears me say, put another log on the fire, and it starts recording shit. I did not want that, you stupid phone. Well, I'm sincerely hoping that you can get this beer at the actual supermarket instead, and the Google is just not understanding. Anyway, can you buy booze online?
Depends where you are. Here in Pennsylvania, I think your options are still quite limited as far as buying booze online.
Well, okay, fine. Can I buy booze online?
That I could not tell you. I have not looked into the California legislation on that matter.
Well, I mean, you know how they have those like people who go shopping for you things at supermarkets?
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm totally blanking on the name of it, but like I'm sure they will let you buy beer through them, and if you can buy beer through them, you have to be able to buy beer through like Amazon Fresh or whatever, right?
Okay, I can see the logic.
But then again, you know, if you're on Amazon, there's no way to prove that you're an adult.
Well, there you go, and I think that's one of the reasons it at least was difficult to do that sort of thing here in Pennsylvania.
No, you can buy beer on Amazon. I'm looking at it right the heck now.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, is that a table that looks like a pop socket? Well, okay, it does look like a pop socket, but it's not. Apparently, it's a table, but the base is also a cooler. You put ice in it.
Okay.
It's an outdoor patio thing, and it okay. I mean, I can see how that might be convenient. All right.
Okay, what do we have over here? As of April, there's a CNN thing here in Pennsylvania. You can buy liquor and wine again online, but only if you're lucky.
All right, let's try orange then. Bud Light orange beer. Survey says no, they do not have it. Bugger. Oh well, I guess I'll have to scour the store. Wonder what else they have for food. Like, I know there's other stuff that I've wanted that I can't find. Like you remember for like a while back, I was bitching that my supermarket had gotten rid of my favorite cereal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if it's because I bitched or not, but it's back. But every now and then I encounter these like inexplicable blind spots in the inventory of the stores around me.
Okay, then.
It's just like this very common find it everywhere item, but for some reason they don't carry it.
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
Oh man.
Okay, so
Dr.
I guess you
Brown's celery is still so freaking expensive. I wish I could find that at a brick and mortar store. Have you ever had celery?
Okay, twice you've cut out in the middle of the word. It sounded like celery, but I know that's not what you're saying.
It's pretty close. Celery. It's celery soda. And it's one of the most delicious things you will ever fucking taste.
I've never had it. I wonder if I should try to find it.
Well, it's hard to find sometimes, but it is so good.
Oh my.
Well, I don't. Oh, hey, wait a minute. These places near me. Let's see, where the hell is Beverages Direct and Soda Emporium? Problem is, like I say, it's so expensive to just buy it online. Like 12 cans for $20.97.
Oh, I'm seeing the one you're describing because I was trying to look this stuff up. And yeah.
It is seriously one of the most delicious things you will ever taste. It is so fucking good, and you wouldn't imagine it for a celery-based soda, but it is
I would try it.
Good.
Now, mustard soda pop, I'm not sure about.
Yeah, mustard.
Yeah, I'm seeing from something vet19.com, mustard soda pop, $3.99. It looks like for a bottle of it. Let me try to pull this up and see what we got.
I do have to go soon. I haven't had breakfast yet, and I do need to go shopping. I'm completely out of that cereal I mentioned before. So yeah.
Oh my God. No, this is just wrong.
What?
This is very, very wrong.
What?
Okay, overview. If you've ever seen a child eat a corn dog, chances are you've seen someone suck on the end and slurp up mustard like it was a drink and not a condiment.
Ugh.
Mustard flavored soda is your chance to do the same with a refreshing bubbly finish. Each bottle sweetened with pure cane sugar is filled with effervescent and complex tangy, sour, and sweet flavors. I just cannot see mustard and sugar in the same container.
Actually, sweet and spicy do go together. Like I'm sure I mentioned them before. I think I bought them while I was on your show. There are these Skittles, limited edition, hard to find, called Sweet Heat. And it's basically like regular Skittles, but with something spicy. I think it might have been cinnamon. I'm not sure, but it was like, oh, this is a nice sweet candy. Holy shit, red hot, and it was really, really good. So mustard and sugar might actually work.
Okay, I might consider trying it.
Oh, I'm not going to try it. Well, one thing I've discovered now, I don't know if you ever saw it, but I have a video, a live stream I did where actually a stool stopped by and I was tasting novelty soda flavors.
Yes, I saw that one. Yeah.
Well, if this mustard soda that you're describing is anything like those, it won't taste a damn thing like the authentic article.
Okay, then. So that's somewhat consoling.
Yeah.
Yeah, features and specs: mustard flavored soda pop. Okay, made with pure cane sugar. I don't know, man.
So I just spotted something on Amazon that I think I can't decide if I want this.
Well, we're gonna see here. Okay, there's my cursor. Oh my word!
I'm not sure whether I want that.
Wow.
Well, you know what I can always just do is add it to my wish list, put it way down at the bottom, and see what happens. Because, I mean, that's actually one thing that people on my channel who, I guess, like, the few who are willing to buy me stuff, I don't think they've noticed that I literally have prioritized my wish list by how much I want stuff. Right? Like if it's at the top, highest priority.
Yeah, which is going to be what people see first. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Like down at the bottom is the pop-up book of phobias.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no way that'll go wrong.
And then we have let's placate with this stuff at the top here. Yeah.
Yeah. Still, anyway, yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to look up. Someone said that Clearly Canadian is making a comeback. And if it is, I want some. And
wait,
it is. And
what are we talking about here?
Clearly Canadian, the drink?
Would it be a Canadian cream soda or something?
What? It's just Canadian. It's literally clear, and it was so damn tasty. Yep.
Okay, Clearly Canadian beverage is a brand of flavored and unflavored sparkling and spring water that is produced by the Clearly Food and Beverage Company Limited of Canada.
Well, I seem to remember the blackberry being especially good.
Huh.
So yeah, I may have to, because they are selling it on Amazon. It's not cheap, but they're selling it on Amazon, and I want some.
Okay, what do I see here?
Clearly Canadian blackberry.
I see mountain blackberry. I see country raspberry.
Wow,
I see
$18 for a pack of 2? Jam it. $30 for a pack of 4. Jesus, Harold Christ.
And we're talking about 11 ounces a crack here. So it's not even a 12-ounce bottle or a 12-ounce can. This stuff had better be damn good.
Well, I mean, it is. Man, I wish I knew where to find it, like in a brick and mortar store. Maybe I still can. Hold on. I didn't actually check Google Shopping. Yes, Clearly Canadian. Now, available nearby. Walmart, bite me. I'm not going to Walmart. I wonder if I can sort by distance. Well, you can buy it on eBay.
Hey.
It's listing Target and Walmart as the only places to get it. Dag nabbit. Consarn it.
I see this thing over here. Clearly Canadian sparkling water beverage, wild cherry. You say 11 milliliters. That can't be right.
$44 for a pack of 12, and it's only what looks like the cherry flavor. No, raspberry. Ooh, raspberry. I do like raspberry.
But here it appears to be one bottle for $2.69 with a $10 minimum order.
Well, the thing is, like, okay, they have a unit price. 34 cents per fluid ounce.
Jesus.
See, the thing is, I have the money. I could order this.
The Brezhnev.
I get, like, how frivolous am I feeling?
Yes.
You know what? Maybe I'll just add it to the old wish list and see what happens.
And Von Rick is here. Hi, Von Rick. Yay.
Yes. Hello to the Von Wreckage. How you doing?
You
You know what? I'm not going to call you Von Wreckage. You're good people, and that sounds insulting. Okay. So if you click on the country raspberry and go to the actual page, they have a list of all the other flavors, and you can't select any of them.
Oh, jeez.
Well, no, I take that back. You can select them. It says currently unavailable.
Okay, is that like the CO2 canisters for the carbonating machines, the soda streams?
Well, I wouldn't know about that. Because you know what I haven't been researching?
That.
There you go. Oh, I discovered something extraordinarily annoying yesterday. Is that when I go shopping for new books using my Kindle, I don't get the store where they're in Kindle format. The only way to buy a book in Kindle format is for me to open up my PC and buy it that way.
Oh.
You want to talk frustrating? That shit's frustrating. Because last night, when I discovered this, I realized, all of those books I thought I couldn't get in digital format, I totally can get in digital format. I just thought you couldn't. I thought they weren't available, right? And so and now I'm like, I have to load up on books now because I didn't realize. I'm just saying. Like as much as I should be reading something new, I've decided to start reading something I haven't read in decades instead.
Okay, reasonable.
Part of the problem is that buying something new is a bit of a risk. What if I don't like it? What if I buy it and I find it to be garbage?
Yeah, and with the price of books anymore.
And like, because, okay, you can get a bunch of books for completely and totally free on Amazon now. And while most of them are more of a first hits free kind of thing, where it's the first book of a series and you have to pay for everything except the first one, like in this case, a lot of them are just straight up free, but they're free for a reason. So few of them are quality at all. Although I did find a gem where it was the entire series, it was entirely free. It was something like 6 books, and it was so good. Oh my gosh, it was worth every penny I didn't spend. It was that good. And yeah, so it was like, well, I don't know. But so many of these free books are terrible. I mean, so bad. I mean, like, junior high student wrote this on an old word processor in the late 90s bad. And it's just like, man, imagine if I had paid for this. So what you
Yeah,
gonna do?
indeed.
That's why I don't want to risk it.
Yeah, I don't buy anywhere near as many books as I would like, mainly because we're talking $30 a crack here, and
So that sounds like you're buying nothing but hardcover.
well, even some of the paperbacks. You're talking. Well, for the Robert Price I bought a while back, the one about Paul, that was I think $33 for a paperback.
Oh, well, that's part of the problem. You're not buying fiction. Fiction is way cheaper.
Okay.
Like paperback, probably less than the price of a movie ticket. Kindle version, we're looking at probably $6 tops. There are a few outliers that are like 9 something, but for the most part, it's pretty cheap.
I want to look here and see what RJ's book goes for.
RJ?
Rulon James Downard.
Never heard of it.
You've heard his voice very likely on movie nights.
Have I? Oh, okay, because they're always having the dude advertise his book at the end.
That's RJ. Yep.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, of that, the paperback, that's $18.
Okay, weird. That's really expensive. But okay, one problem though is like books used to be so cheap when I was like in high school, right?
Yes.
And now if but like I had to go and buy them at a bookstore. Now, this is the one way that paper books are superior to digital format. It's easier to browse. Like if you're actually at the store and you're going, I'm looking for something, I don't know what I want, but I know I'm in the sci-fi fantasy section, so whatever it is I want, I'm probably pretty close to it. Now, what is it? And you can just pull a book off the shelf, read the back, put it back, or decide it's what you wanted, or hold on to it, or whatever. It was just easier to get the descriptions. But now you have to click on so much to get the description of a book that you don't necessarily know what you're going to be getting in the end. And it's not surrounded by bunches of similar books. So, it gets to a point where it's such a crapshoot to get a decent book that is what you were looking for. So shopping is the only way that paper is superior to digital.
And well, the other thing though is, okay, let's say you wanted to try to convert my library to digital. A lot of the books there are not available digitally. Well,
that's what I thought until I discovered that I was trying to buy them using my Kindle.
Okay, no, I'm
on the PC.
I'm talking about the books that were first published 50 years ago, that are nonfiction and that sort of thing. And
have you looked for them in digital format?
I did some looking for certain titles. I didn't look for every title.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you gave up too quickly.
Okay. I'm just curious right now. You've made me. Okay, let's see. Rockets, missiles, and space.
Man, you really do hunt and peck, don't you?
I was just using 2 fingers.
Yeah, well, that's not much better.
Okay, Amazon. Let's look over there. And let's see, hardcover, and hardcover.
What is the name of this book?
Rockets, missiles, and this one's rockets, missiles, and space travel.
Is that not the one you're looking for?
No, it's another one by the same author and on the same subject. But
Willie
no,
Lay?
yes.
All right. Yeah, it looks like this guy does not have anything in digital form.
Okay, here's the one.
Rockets, missiles, and space travel with Sputnik data?
Okay, that's another one. But the one I was looking for, I did find under Amazon. Yeah, for a hardcover, they want 33 books.
Yes, but the question was, which book is it?
Okay, the book that I'm talking about right now is Rockets, Missiles, and Men in Space, a definitive account of the history of space.
I see.
Published in 1966.
Okay. Yeah, well, okay.
That's the kind of stuff you're talking about.
You might have a better chance looking for fiction.
Moo. I don't remember I don't remember most of the fiction titles really. I'm sure some of them are available. I mean, I'm sure you can find some of the Heinlein digitally. He's popular enough.
Now, I like his youth/juvenile stuff so much better than the others. Because, it's more fun oriented. Like take, for example, Red Planet.
Uh-huh.
That's honestly more fun than say Time Enough for Love.
Okay.
I mean, I think a good happy middle would have to be Starship Troopers, managing to combine the fun and the philosophy. I actually just reread Stranger in a Strange Land, and I think I like it less than I used to.
Well,
There's a lot of material in there where I go, you know what? I kind of object to this, actually.
I have found that sort of thing is not unusual with the stuff I've read years ago and then I've reread recently. Yeah.
I need to reread, if I ever read it in the first place. I think I did. I need to reread Have Spacesuit Will Travel.
Okay, that's one I haven't read.
Hi,
N.A. Yeah.
And I've been meaning to reread The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. Another thing I've found that's kind of annoying, it seems like if you add the Kindle version of a book to your wish list and someone orders it, you end up with a wood pulp version instead.
Oh, thank you for reminding me, Von Rick. Let me do something about that. Yeah, so many things have been happening lately all at once that I just had my attention diverted, shall we say. Okay, so that's not there. Let me see what we can do.
God, it is freaking hot here, and it's getting humid. I feel so icky. You know when you feel icky where it's like I can't tell where the moisture, like the humidity begins and my sweat ends?
Yes.
It's one of those days right now where I just feel like generally icky, like I can't possibly get clean. Even a shower won't help.
Oh my. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Now I'm going back and forth between physical machines. What?
I'm starting to get quite hungry. I never did have breakfast.
Oh no, oh my. I mean, it's lunchtime for you already.
It really is. So I think I'm gonna go, especially since I really should get some stuff done today. Like, if nothing else, I should get some more of that. Hell, what's it called again? Oh yeah, food. I should get some of that.
Oh my. Yeah, the food thing that does come in handy. Well, that's one of the things I've done. I just bought a shitload of various flavors of Jello, and if I can make a day's meal out of a box of Jello, in some cases, that might not be a bad idea. At 30 cents a box, you know.
Yeah, but that's not exactly like a meal, is it? Like, there's no
Um,
nutrition there. The best it'll do is help your bones and give you diabetes.
Oh, well, that too. No, I remember, oh gods, when I was in intensive care after cranial surgery, um, gelatin was a large part of my daily diet for about 4 days. Um, a meal would be a small cup of broth, a cup of jello, a can of ginger ale. And I think that was pretty much it.
Was it?
Yeah, the whole liquid diet thing. I don't know why I had to have that, but I did have to have it.
You know what I think I would really like is uncarbonated sodas, like completely not carbonated in any fashion. I think that ginger not ale would be good, like just a ginger drink, you know?
Oh, okay, okay.
Anyway,
That
like
might
I said, I'm
actually
gonna
work.
make like a baby and head out, so I'll catch you like the plague.
Okay, well, take care, hon. Within a degree of luck, see you Tuesday. And unless something else falls apart over here.
Well, you didn't specify good luck or bad luck. Later!
Yeah, take care. And then we're down to just me over here. Okay, what do we have going on over here? Yeah, the we're getting this together over here, Von Rick. I'll send you a little something. I hope I have the address right here. We're gonna find out and hit the button. Oh, for fuck's sake! Um, it's doesn't have the password in the ring. Okay, it hasn't kicked it back at me yet, so hopefully that's the right password. Oh, I am so sorry, honey. No, it's one of these cases where so many things happen, and with my memory as it is, um, yeah, at fnordnet.net. You've got it there, honey. Um, yeah, some you're getting it from someone who has been successful at sending stuff over here, and I am so grateful for everything he's done, really, and always continues to do. For some idiot reason, he always continues to do the nice things and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, as I say, honey, the drive is sitting over on my dresser in my bedroom right now because that was the best place I could think of putting it while I'm tearing everything apart over here. Um, Within a degree of luck, this afternoon I'll get started on tearing that machine apart and moving things around. Because what I think I'm going to do is just not execute a simple drop in. 6 terabytes seems to be a bit much for that particular application. So what I might do is take the smaller drive I'm using for this side of the machine, move it over to the broadcast side, and put the 6 terabyte in here. The MSB would call it playing checkers, but what the heck, it actually does kind of work out a little bit, and that'll keep me busy for a little while. Hopefully, I can start and then be done by Tuesday evening. I have to work at it and make sure that we get there and bring good stuff to you peoples and things and stuff. And yay. What's yay? I don't know. I don't know what is the yay. Oh my. Yeah. For today's lunch, I'm looking at a bowl of lemon jello. Well, not jello, it's the Walmart substitute for jello, but it's just the way it goes. Because I did try a couple weeks ago an orange lime mixture. Oh, danke schön. Yeah, I'll get around to looking at it and see what happens. Why don't I look now and see if it works? Yeah, I know why. I'd have to go to the other machine to do it, but that's okay. It's all sorts of fun when you run more than one physical machine and you run more than one operating system on each of the physical machines. I'm actually running 4 operating systems here. Oh my, it's a whole bunch of fun. Yeah. Oh, look at that. We dropped that. I didn't realize I still had that running. Okay, we're going to look at my personal finances, and we are going to log in, and we're going to next, and we're going to do that. And I don't know. I do not want to turn on One Touch. Ah! It's in the amount of $5, sweetness. Looks like it worked this time. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Yay, isn't that fun? Yay, 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 yay. I'll come back to that in a little bit. But yeah, it's saying and it's waiting for me, and I'll get around to doing something about that. I didn't want that, did I? That's all right. I'll, wait a minute. Okay, there's that. Then there's that. I don't think I have to do anything with those at the moment, so I'm going to turn that off. And on moving, okay, moving the Apollo 10 air to ground from the broken backup drive to this machine. Okay, approximately 16 hours left. All right. That's only one mission, by the way. Wait a minute. What did I say that you're asking? Which ones? Oh, well, thank you, honey. I don't know how I'm worth it. I don't know that I'm worth what you sent. But that's beside the point. One thing that did occur a couple of days ago, I found the recertification paperwork for my food stamps and my they call here in Pennsylvania they call it a Medicare buy-in. They help by paying my Medicare Part B premium. Oh, US's. Okay, on the machine I'm running right now, it's 2 copies of Ubuntu 16.04. And I don't think I'm gonna change yet when I set up the next one. When I set up the machine again. On the other, it's a copy of 1604 and a copy of WinChit 10. I have some of the installed media. I haven't had them installed for a while, but I've also run NetBSD and one of the older BSDs. I used to do cross-platform programming. Mm-hmm. No, I have a love-hate relationship with Microsoft. I love to hate them. Now, for example, that whole thing that they've got going with updating, they will decide, okay, we're going to update your system when I'm in the middle of something that I can't I can't bring to a close right away. And I've had the system corrupted at one point when I had to use WinChit for running Zoom back when Jeff was still alive for movie night. He was using Zoom, and Zoom would kill my Linux system. I mean, it would run more and more slowly. I'm trying to get my hair over my shoulder without screwing things up. There we go. Hopefully that'll do it. Yet, with the way it would work, as it went on, it would get slower and slower and slower, and then finally just crash the system. So I ended up installing Windblows in an attempt to run Zoom. And right after I had installed it, we had a movie night. And in the middle of the movie night, it decided that it wanted to upgrade. And, we still had a few hours to go. And then finally, when movie night was over, I let it go. And then the whole system was... I had to do what they call a reset, which basically, installed the system all over again from I guess it was some sort of backup copy. It worked better, but still didn't work well. So I got back to the point where I do not use that Microsoft system for anything important. And aside from that short period, because Jeff decided that Zoom was too much of a problem, and went to using something else. I think we went back to Google Meet. But aside from that short period, I have not used WinDiarrhea for anything important in 21 years. I started using Linux in 99 and just haven't looked back. And at one point, I even designed a Linux distribution with the with kernel series version 2. So that was a while ago. Worked quite well. It was geared toward servers and routers, but it worked quite well. But that was 20 years ago. I did that. These days, I'm just trying to get a system going that is robust. I don't have all of the hardware I need for a system as robust as I would like. So I'm just going to have to take some time and, excuse me, get the hardware together, which of course means get some money together. But don't send me any. God damn it! Some of you folks, I have to wonder. What? Did you rob a Swiss bank or something with the stuff you're sending me? But that's beside the point. Oh my. Yeah, but we'll get that. We'll get that figured out. I need to figure out what I need, and then I'll get it and get things going. It would be nice if I could have something approaching a robust system by the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works, and it'll be fun putting it together. Well, thank you, honey. Seriously. Yeah, I wish I could. I really do. I don't know, honey. I was thinking your name. Maybe you heard that. Yeah, good old NANA. Yay. So I saw that you had popped in, and it's good to have you here. Definitely. Yeah, we're. Well, I'm definitely nuts. Oh my. We're looking at stuff and things, and what do we have? Oh, okay. I see what you've got over here. I've actually got 2 copies of Twitter running. Why do I have 2 copies of Twitter running? I don't know. Oh, look at this. Answers in Genesis 18 minutes ago. Are Christian organizations hate groups? What do you think, jackass? I mean, really. According to Liberty Council, a pro bono religious freedom group. Yeah, that's what you call it now, huh? 46 Christian or nonprofit groups have been categorized as hate groups. I wonder why. I mean, I really do. Man, I have to wonder. Do you guys really, really think that you're doing something good? Or do you just like to stir up shit? Oh my, pineapple vodka. That sounds tasty. That sounds yummy and tasty. Oh, let's see now. What do they have to say over here? They have some of these, in quotes, hate groups. I love the way they put those air quotes on there. Are well known for their hateful rhetoric, such as the KKK chapters or neo-Nazi groups, but others are Christian or non-profit groups. Okay, you haven't made you haven't made a distinction yet, people. According to Liberty Counsel, well, tells you something right there. A pro bono religious freedom group. Yeah, that's what you call it now, huh? That is itself suing SPLC over their hate label designation. It's well earned. It's well earned. 46 Christian and nonprofit groups have been categorized as hate groups by SPLC. These include some names you might recognize, such as D. James Kennedy Ministries, who is suing SPLC over the label, Alliance Defending Freedom, the American Family Association. Have you ever noticed that if you want to find the more hateful groups, to just look for something with family in the name? Okay. The Family Research Council, see above, and others. Um, D. James Kennedy Ministries, a Florida-based Christian ministry founded by the late Presbyterian minister D. James Kennedy, is suing because the hate group label has affected their status with GuideStar USA Incorporated, a group that rates nonprofits, which in turn has affected their donation status with Amazon.com. I have only one word for that. Good! Okay, what I may have to do is I may have to turn this down today because I may have to save this stuff. I may have to start doing response videos again, kids. And maybe I'm starting to find my element again. I mean, that just felt comfortable to do that and go right off the top of my head. Kate, you may be right, at least in this case. But Robert Reed had posted something from Sean McDowell a couple days ago that got me thinking. McDowell had said something absolutely stupid about people like me, about us queers. And I think it's time. I think maybe I just got to get there and turn the camera on, start recording, and see what we can do with this. It's just, I'll have to find something that can go on screen so you don't have to spend the time looking at my ugly mug. There you go. Say the name, and Amiga comes through. Everybody have a look at Robert, would you? He's an amazing guy. He really, really is. Follow him on the Twitter and take a look at his channel. And I think he's still working with. Peter DeTucker. Gonna go for it on the Twatters. Is a really wonderful guy. Love him dearly, and you will too. But I'll drop that to the bar. Yeah, because it amazes me that these Christian folks might actually think that what they're doing is a good thing when they cause so much pain, so much anguish. They know that they're causing the anguish, and I guess what is it that they think that causing anguish to the devil is what they're doing, and therefore it's a good thing. I can assure them that their devil does not exist, just the way their God does not exist. So we'll take it from there. Yeah, they're not nice people by any stretch of the imagination. You know what I got to do though? Do I have over here in my goodie box? Yeah, I guess I have a day's worth of goodies in here, so that's a good thing. Can't be a bad thing, right? Yum. I'm a walking pharmacy. Oh my word, my word, my word. I don't know here anymore. You know, maybe I could just do this sort of thing on a third show every week. Yes, they do. A death cult mentality, and either they don't know it or they know what they've got, but they don't call it a death cult. I don't know. That whole blood sacrifice thing just amazes the hell out of me. That you, in order to have forgiveness, you've got to have blood. I'm sorry for those who might find this offensive. It's not intended to be offensive, but maybe it should be. That seems to me so, I won't say primitive, I'll say barbaric. Yeah, that whole blood magic thing. The Hebrew people of the what, first century and before seem to have that whole blood magic mentality going. There, yeah, that's where I was headed, Von Rick. They had that whole animal sacrifice and everything else. They might have actually had human sacrifice in there too, as well. Hard to say because I can't remember if they had it or their cousins had it. What they're not telling you, by the way, is that they are a subgroup of the Canaanites, etc. That their books say that they are fighting so hard. But yeah, you had that whole animal and blood thing going, and when you get to the New Testament, uh, you have that thing. It's, I don't know if it's explicitly stated. Some of the words are in use, but um, yeah, okay, indeed. Uh, but the whole Jesus thing, the scriptural Jesus anyway, was the perfect sacrifice because the blood of God's chosen one, who may or may not have been a god himself by then. It would depend on which gospel you were reading. I'm not altogether certain that Jesus was a god in Mark, but by the time you get to John, he certainly was. Um, but yeah, you're shedding the blood of a god, and that's the perfect sacrifice. Uh, so yeah, all sorts of fun, even then, and I guess well, that remains to this day as far as that goes. I was raised Catholic. The slimy bastards raised my late sister and me Catholic. She found Jesus. I found Carl Sagan, and that whole thing about eating the body and drinking the blood with the cracker and the wine that they do. So it's still there, ritual cannibalism. So how horrible that is when there are so many better options that have already been explored. It's not that anybody is plowing any new ground with any of the alternatives. Um, at any rate, oh my word, it's 3:45 here. E, yeah, water to wine, then wine to blood. Yes, the whole progression of the magic. Um, There, and you guys thought it was just beverages, didn't you? Oh, what? Okay, so Turek replied, "Why would I want to argue with an ideology that says, it was Frank Turek rather than Sean McDowell? Now that you remind me, thank you. That said, I've cast fire on the world, and look, I'm watching over it until it blazes. Gospel of Thomas. Now, can you just answer the question I asked?" I know. It's not that you don't get it, Frankie. Um, it's that you're perverting it. I guess maybe it's, as I say, when Robert put that up, I was looking at it and said, yeah, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to go back to my roots, to do response videos again. Um, so what I've got to do is find my response video voice. It's for those of you who don't know, this is the way I got started. Um, 2 years ago, I started doing response videos, mainly to a group called Catholic Answers. Yeah, and if you wanted to see any vile and disgusting stuff that was put out there by anyone, it's the stuff that they spew. Um, Catholics are especially vile. Yes, it was indeed. And how do I feel about same sex marriages? Okay, the way I feel about same sex marriages is the way I feel about opposite sex marriages or whatever you want to call it. They're marriages. Okay, if you don't like the idea of same sex marriage, don't marry someone of the same sex. Okay, it's that simple. As far as the rest of us are concerned, we're not hurting you. We're not. Leave us alone. Although I can tell you that I doubt anybody. I doubt it that anybody would want to marry me anymore. Oh my! I'm not sure I want to marry anyone anyway. It's I did it once officially and once unofficially, and maybe I'm just not cut out for it. And besides, it's been so long that I don't know if I know how to have such a relationship with anyone anymore. So, what are you going to do? From either side of the field. Um, Yay! Cualquiera. Oh my, oh my, oh my. I guess you know how to do it, huh, hon? I didn't. I didn't know how to do it. Well, I ruined the official marriage, and I don't want to sound horrible, but I will say that my ex didn't do so well in that department either. So. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna have a look over here and see how everything's doing on the recovery side. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we're moving raw audio from Apollo 10 over to the desktop. Approximately 19 hours left. Okay, that works. I can let that go and go and go and go. I guess you did, Monrick. I guess you did got lucky. It's a good thing. Oh my. I always got married for all the wrong reasons anyway. So, I mean, I got married to Sandra to run away from home. Uh, I got things going with Melody, I guess because I was lonely, and she got things going with me because she was running away from home. That sort of thing just doesn't fly right. Just never works out in the end. Um, I wish I could have had the confidence to strike out on my own when I was, when I was 21. I wish I had had the confidence to run away from home when I was 14. Yeah, pretty much. NA, pretty much. I can't turn the clock back. And when you go back and you change something significant or something like that, let's say that it's possible to travel to the past, and instead of exactly reliving the past, you change something significant. There's no way to know that the change you make is for the better. So I sometimes wonder what things would have been like had he got that job in Chicago and the slimy bastards would not have come back to Cleveland. Um, and someone else would have adopted me. Would that have been better? I can't say. Might have been better. It might have been the same. It might have been worse. Who can tell you? Oh my! I am so sorry, Amiga. Yeah, to anybody who had to go through the Catholicism thing, I am so sorry. Um, it's not a fun organization. I am happy to have been away from the Catholics for, oh God, what now? About 45 years? About that. I mean, by the time I was at uni, the only reason I was going to Mass was I liked singing in the choir, and the organist was really cute. Uh, okay, then. Yeah, I wasn't using the A word, but I think, well, I don't know. It's hard to say when these things apply to me. I mean, the cracks started forming when I was what, maybe about 11 years old. Um, by the time Detko died in '73, I had lost any degree of clinging to the concept of an afterlife. Um, and of course, there's no afterlife. There's no God ruling over it. So I was what? I was 16 at the time. Um, but I really didn't use the A word until I was out of uni that first time. So that would have been what, 78, 77, something like that. Ah, shit. Whoa. My crazy aunt wanted to be a nun. Um, the convent wouldn't have her because she was crazy. Or at least that's the way the story goes. And yeah, I call her my crazy aunt only in the most loving of ways. Um, she was mildly schizophrenic. So, the term applies kind of. Um, she lived in her own little world in the house she was born in with her 100 cats. No, I'm not kidding. Um, she died in '95. Yeah, let me quit Discord here. I just realized it was still running. Uh, so yeah, what can I tell you? It's a weird world. It's weird the way things go. Um, tell you what though. Okay, it's pretty close to 1,600 hours here. Um, here in beautiful downtown North Versailles, and I think maybe it's kind of time to start to bring things to a close, and maybe I can make a backup of what I do have on my everyday system and do some juggling, et cetera, like that. So I will say that I want to thank everybody who's here, and I want to thank everybody who's not here. Every one of you, I appreciate. You're just amazing people. You're the reason you're the reason I do this stuff. So long as you keep wanting it, I'll keep doing it. Oh my God, Von Rick. Make me feel old, why don't you? You were born in 1969. I turned 12 that year. My birthday present was the first manned lunar landing. So, what the hell. But, yeah, really and truly, all of you guys, Shadow Kitty, you just show up now as I'm closing down. Well, you're just going to have to see about coming by on Tuesday, aren't you? And everybody, really, I want to thank every damn one of you, all of you, everyone. Um, Flying Spaghetti Monster, bless us, everyone. And they're just amazing people, really are. And I look forward to seeing you every time. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday. Hopefully everything will be up and running by that time. Or I can always wait until Wednesday to start working on this stuff. Either way, we're going to see what happens. But until then, thanks a lot, troops. See you on the other side.